Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the What If guy, back with another fanfiction. This is the first part of What If Pervert Issei Becomes Gamer. Now before starting, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. At the academy, the crowd cleared their way for the beauties, the great one sans, to walk their way to school. Walking towards the school was Rias Gremory, Akino Himejima and Kaneko Tuju. They rarely came late in the morning, and if they did, it was a blessing. The girls were gossiping on wishing to be like them, while the guys were lusting over them. Motohama and Matsuda were among the crowd, enjoying the view from a nearby hill. Though they even wondered where was Issei since he was late for this perfect chance. As for Issei, take that team. Everyone sprung directly where the voice came from. Coming from the entrance gate was Issei riding a bicycle as a delinquent from downtown crashed into the wall. Tisbaka, the teen muttered as he finally paid attention to the road. Except his eyes widen upon he realized that he's already at school. It's not every day when you wake up late, took a shower and forced to eat breakfast in while changing clothes and leaving the house in the span of 5 minutes. Well, shit. It finally took in account for everyone that Issei was going about 20 miles per hour directly to the great one sands of Kuoh. Oh no! The entire female population yelled in shock as they knew it would be too late to save them. Oh no! The guys, as well as the two perverted trio members, scream in fright and anger. Oh, Issei won't live to the light of day if he hurts Rias Gremory and Akino Himejima. Oh no! Sona whispered in stunned silence. She knew that her childhood friend may actually be hurt. Despite being devils, they can't risk being caught in the open, so Kiba can't save Rias unless he wants to explain his sonic speed. Oh yeah! A large, glass pitcher filled with red Kool-Aid came out of nowhere, but at the wrong place. Sitting there in shock were the Satans in a conference room with a white-clothed maid next to a male redhead. I'm at the wrong place, aren't I? His response was the maid devil fainting, all while muttering, just a dream. Just a bloody dream, with a shock expression. On the other hand, Issei knew he can pass through this without hurting the beauties and the mascot of the academy. Immediately, he pulled the brake on the bike as he used his feet-covered shoes to hold the ground like an anchor. Come on Issei, use the force. He gritted his teeth as he continued using a lot of strength in it as the bike shake. While some of the crowd closed their eyes in fear, some look on at it with suspense as in the movies where they're in the edge of the seat in scenes where someone escapes certain danger. Suddenly, the bike trips sideways, causing Issei to momentarily freak out. Okay, now I need to improvise. Seeing that he's about 10 feet closing in, he got off his pedals in the nick of time as the left side landed, before standing on the now skidding bicycle. Stretching his arms out and locking his feet in certain position of the bike, he quickly took a deep breath before whirling to his left side. Warupurasupin. With that battle cry, Issei was twirling around like a tornado, and with enough force to go around the three girls. The audience were slack-jawed, mouth gaping and jaw dropping at this turns of event. Issei Hu, the horn dog of Kuoh, also known as the embodiment of lust, saved not only himself but the great one sans from harm. It's too shocking to even believing it to be true. Sadly, however, that was short-lived as he hit the water fountain that was in front of the academy. From the force of the surprisingly fast down bike and forcefully to be stopped by the concrete work of art, Issei was sent flying like a rag doll. And since he was spinning only made it worse as he flew in the air at a 5-degree angle with his arms wailing. Hiya Issei yelled out the famous Wilhelm scream. He soared into the skies before reaching an unfortunate window from the building. Glass shattered with many loud crashes soon heard afterwards. Everybody winced and flinched at each thud that was heard in the building on the poor boy. The one thing that he saw before blacking out was seeing a brunette female with twin pigtails, olive green eyes and pink glasses, came to check on him, as well as saying to her, "Oh, attention." Hours later, so things went back to normal after his date with Yumma Amano. Sort of. Now unlike those clichés where Rainier, incognito, kills Issei after the date, whether it was perfect or not, didn't happen here. Instead, he pisses her off so badly that she left him. That's right, She left Issei hanging, got her group, and left this town completely. All because Issei ate a very stuffed hot dog that she dared him to eat and threw up on her before she can use her equivalent to "would you kindly" from a certain FPS. Rainier, before leaving, quickly had removed all form of her existence as Yumma. It wouldn't be bad if the devils and our brunette can remember it. Though the devils were completely unaware that the Fallen had evacuated the area already till last Wednesday. Since then, Issei began to change back on what he was before being a pervert, and that was being a gamer. It had been almost 9 years ago that his mom bought him gaming system to keep his mind off from Irina. That system happened to be the Nintendo Famicom with some games as a gift for his 7th birthday. The Game Boys were never his, they actually belonged to his blonde friend who took them as remembrance. The brunette enjoyed his system a lot with great memories, especially with 2 games that he enjoyed very much. Those being Contra and the original Castlevania, both from Konami. He loved it so much that one of his cousin's neighbor's friend gave him a Sega Mega Drive for his 9th birthday. Same thing happened from an aunt of his 10th who gave him a Super Famicom. It wasn't until he found them in attic last Tuesday. Though for some reason the teen wonder how he completely forgot about them in middle school. Oh well, better late than never, right? Slowly waking up, he found himself in the nurse office. He saw his school bag in the corner while he was laying on one of the beds. Turning around, the former pervert saw the nurse coming in. She wore a dark gray color of the uniform, with the skirt going to her ankles, with black curly hair to her back. Issei remembered her as Rin Kazama. She stopped healing the perverted trio after hearing that they were, and you guess it, perverts. However, she was one of few people to notice major changes from the brunette, and she was happy with it. The others being the teachers, the devils, and his parents. Gotten nasty wounds from that landing, isn't she? Half joked, half stated. Don't remind me, ouch, Issei said before grunting in pain from all the numbness. Rin quickly came to his side to tell him by staying in bed, just how long have I been out? The nurse thought of the time Issei lost when he was out cold. Well, if you count about 0 PRD despite not having it, I would say about almost the whole academy day. The student looked at her with wide eyes and jaw drop. Say what now? He yelled in shock. I missed the almost a whole day of school. Great, how I am going to explain this to my Ryushin of this? They were, of course, immediately notified of this after your rough landing. You should be lucky that Aika Kiryu-san was nearby who helped you get here, she explained. Though they surprisingly took this very well, despite what happened. Care to explain me about this? Issei was scratching his head in embarrassment as he suddenly recalled painful flashbacks. Just check my elementary years records. You'll be amazed of the crazy things I'd done as a kid, the teen replied before he blushed about something. Wait, who is this Aika girl you spoke of? Was she the last person I saw before passing out? The nurse saw something in this and decided to get in return. How about a deal, Hayate-san? You tell me of this sudden change of personality, and I'll tell you who's Kiryu-san. Deal? Rin proposed with narrowed eyes. The former pervert thought this very closely. If he confessed, he gets something interesting in return. All right, I'll talk, but as long you give your end of the deal too, he said as Rin nodded her head. Sighing, he closed his eyes as he began. It all started last week, after I had my supposed date with a girl named Yumma Amano. He stopped to open his eyes and to see her have an expression before continuing. She was some random girl who just suddenly came by to me and asked to go out with her. I, being a pervert at the time, took this golden opportunity, even introduced her to Motohama and Matsuda to prove it. Then we went on our date, everything went fine, despite the awkward start, and did lots of fun things together. Then at 8 at night, our final moment together before school. She was going to ask me something before I. This time Issei gulped, causing the nurse to look at him with eyebrows raised. Before you what, Hayate-san? Rin was giggling at this while he stuttered. I kind of threw up on her. The nurse then looked at Issei with a blank expression. There was silence in the room, with the brunette being the only person aside from her in the room. Ha! Rin muffled her laughter before it was too much for her. Ha ha! Ha ha! Issei just sat there in embarrassment from her reaction. It's not funny. I'm sorry. Ha ha! She continued for a few seconds before finally stopping. Oh Lord, that's a classic. So you puke on this girl because it was an accident. Though she's at fault too. I mean, who in their right mind would dare their boyfriend to eat an extra toppings chili cheese dog? Really now? You threw up on her because of a dare? Well, I don't blame you since my boyfriend will do anything to defend his honor as a man. Issei muttered beneath his breath. So what happened afterwards? She flew away. What? Said the same thing too, sister. She grew a pair of crow's wings and left me hanging. There was again silence in the room before the clock on her desk showed the time. Fifth PRD is almost over. Though Rin was surprised from this supposed story that Issei told her. If what he said is true, then how come everyone never noticed this? Oh well, it's better to figure it out later. Is that all? She asked. No, as another reason was because of having nostalgia. Seeing her confused face, Issei explained again. You see, when I was young, I had a friend named Irina Shido. We both knew each other when we were young, but he had to move to England. My Ka-chan didn't want me to stay depressed, so she bought me a gaming system with a few games for it. That happened to be a Nintendo Famicom. Mario and Zelda were good, but the ones that caught my eyes were Contra and Castlevania. I mean, why save the princess when you can shoot and slash your way to save the world from aliens and monsters? Then my cousins, Kenji, neighbor's friend, Makoto, gave me his Sega Mega Drive for my 9th birthday. While he got a 4-terabyte hard drive for his computer from my cousin as Kenji dated his Amato. I believe it's a win-win situation for all three of us. Last I heard, they got married and I have either a May or... He smiled at the memory while Rin was looking amused. Then my Oba gave me her Super Famicom for my 4th grade's graduation. My Ryushin then got me my new favorite games of all time. Contra, Hard Spirits, Contra, the Hardcore, along with Akumaho Dorikura 4 and Vampire Killer. Then I found them again last Tuesday in the attic. All that after Yumma left me hanging. Pretty cool, right? Truly Rin was amazed on the tale. No wonder Issei isn't a pervert anymore, since he had and now got something better to do than peeping at girls. Going to her desk, she went to retrieve something. Hey, the brunette whined. I thought we had a deal. We did, she replied as she came back with a folder. I just need to get a picture for you to know and a pass to go back to class. The nurse then came and laid it on the chair she sat on while she wrote a pass for him. That's Aika Kiryu, sophomore, class representative of Class 2A, smart, average body of a female, and, surprisingly enough, a pervert. One specific thing about her is that she can, like Motohama, measure the human body. The opposite of your friend, she can tell the sizes males' manhoods, if you know what I mean, despite them wearing anything at all. Issei had wide eyes as he saw her picture and heard on what the nurse said. She was a female teen around his age, had long brown hair in twin pigtails, one on each side. Olive green, stucked eyes behind round glasses with pink rims on the edges. Despite wearing the Academy's girl uniform, it hugged her figure very well. And the fact that she's pervert only makes it better for him. Screw the great one sans when you can get the girl with glasses. Here you go, Issei, a pass telling you're okay to go to class now, Rin said as she gave him a piece of paper. Also, I need that folder back, please. Issei smiled as he gave back the portfolio back as he got the paper. He left the nurse office with his bag slump over his shoulders. As he left towards his class, Issei stumbled onto the site of the school president of Kuoh Academy, Sona Shirtorai. Hey there, Kuoh, Issei greeted nervously as she gave him a cold stare. Who wouldn't be if it wasn't for the fact that he crashed through a window and probably broke a few things when he unintentionally took flight. Issei, hey, may I speak with you in the student council room, immediately? She asked strictly. The brunette sighed as he followed behind her. The passing students looked at them as the duo went to the student council's room. Once entering, he saw the other members, including student vice president Tsubaki Shinra and the only male in the council, Genshiro Saji. After sitting with all the council members in the room, Sona readjusted her glasses. All right, let's begin. On what on earth were you thinking? Issei stayed quiet as she continued with her ramble. He knew better than trying to defend himself in front of her, until it reached to one certain part that made him snapped. It's bad enough I have to deal with your peeping to the girls, now causing property damaged? I should have you expelled for this. Sona ranted angrily before being interrupted. Then why not do it? Issei said. This caused everyone to look at him in shock. Why not make everybody bloody happy by expelling my butt out here? Is it really that hard to expel me? Oh wait, yes it is. Kuoh Academy never had someone drop out and have a perfect reputation to take someone from zero to hero. Issei then leaned forward on the table he was sitting. So tell me, Sona Kaicho, are you willingly to expel me to taint the reputation that Kuoh Academy? All because of me. Nobody dared to say anything after what he said. It's true on of the reputation that Kuoh Academy has. Expelling Issei will bring dishonor to them despite bringing relief for the females. Even Saji, who would help Sona no matter what, didn't say anything. Please excuse of my ramble, Hayate-san, sure Torai apologized. I've never tolerated anything this intense before. Usually you only get in trouble by peeping at any girls' club, especially the kendo club. I hope you don't do that or doing any more damages towards private property again. Understood? I understand, Kaicho, Issei replied. I just talked to Nurse Ren after I woke up. As we speak right now, she going over my medical's records from my time in elementary. You all should see it sometime. It's intriguing. Also, who's going to pay for the damages? This time it was Tsubaki who raised her hand. Don't worry about that, Hayate-san. Knowing it was an accident altogether, we'll cover for the damages. Just don't do it again, she said. Yes, ma'am, Issei bowed before leaving to class. From there, everything went back to normal. Sure, there were questions like how you were feeling, are you all right? Or, did you get any scars from that landing, from the students? After the bell rang, everyone left as Issei and his friends were making their way home. Though the male brunette made a quick trip to get all of his assignments and homework from his missed classes. Issei, I'm still amazed you managed to hurt the great one sans from the stunt you pulled. Motohama exclaimed. No matter what, the boys were happy and jealous of Issei, who did something that even left the sports team male members to be jaw-dropped. I know that, guys. No need to remind me, the brunette said as something crossed his mind since 6th PRD. Hey, Matsuda, Motohama. Both male teens stopped to turn on what he was going to say. Do you two happen to know of a girl named Aika Kiryu? It was Sunday night. It has been a whole week since the date with Yumma and her leaving Issei. A lot has changed in those 7 days. Issei's parents, Hitomi and Hiroshi, were shocked on what has happened to their perverted son. It took until Friday that they accepted his change. Asia moving in when the church had no inhabitants living inside the abandoned holy structure. And last but not least, the brunette finding his old video games console. Right now he was in his room relaxing after playing his Famicom. He realized that his gaming skills have gotten extremely rusty since he last played them. Now he was listening to some music over the international radio, for the time being. Then one song played that had a very catchy tone and rhythm to it. It was time like this he could be bilingual. Luckily the name of the song was there so he wouldn't have gone insane for not finding it later. It was called Kids from MGMT. Before going to bed, since he had an hour head start on it, he managed to translate the lyrics to understand it better. Knowing that Asia is now comfortable sleeping alone, Issei decided to sing the song to the beats by himself. Although he admits he'll give it his best since he's a horrible singer even as a kid. You were a child. Crawling on your knees toward it. Making mama so proud. But your voice is too loud. We like to watch you laughing. Picking insects off of plants. No time to think of consequences. Chorus, X2. Control yourself. Take only what you need from it. A family of trees wanting to be haunted. The water is warm. But it's sending me shivers. A baby is born. Crying out for attention. The memories fade. Like looking through a fogged mirror. Decisions to decisions are made. And not bought. But I thought this wouldn't hurt a lot. I guess not. Chorus, X5. Control yourself. Take only what you need from it. A family of trees wanting to be haunted. Control yourself. Take only what you need from it. A family of trees. After singing the song, Issei began to tear up a bit. The brunette stayed like that for what seemed to be an eternity. As if he knew what the song really meant. He immediately searched up what he was on his mind without a second thought. When he did, Issei found something that confirmed his suspicion on the song, and it was right. He said as he slumped on his chair. Growing up really does exist. On an online article he found quickly, it turns out the band likes to show that unfair side of life, with the song's lyrics also detailing it that life is limited. Issei quickly opened up more tabs on the subject at hand, and discovered more, from childhood to adulthood and bad parenting as well. This quickly scared him as he did wasted 4 bloody years of his life watching porn as his parents gave up changing him. Despite playing video games, at least it gave him some motivation to do other things. The brunette teen then saw videos on how growing up sucks, among other things. This made him sad even more as this was real than fiction. Soon he'll be out of the house, looking for a job and having a family with a wife and kids, if he's even lucky. He thought it was all over, seeing that he disappointed his parents, as well as his past self. Ironic, isn't? He thought as he cried. I remember as a kid that perverts are idiots, yet here I am. I remember saying that I'll know everything by 15, yet here I am. I really am pathetic. Tisi, no kidding. Wait a minute. Did someone said that? He turned around to see if anyone was in his room. Sure enough, it was vacant. He was going to dismiss this until he heard tapping from his right thigh. Turning around, he saw something he didn't expect. Standing there was a kid, but not just any brat as it was himself. Startled, he jumped to the bed, which caused his kid self to chuckle a laugh. Yo, he greeted. The older brunette got a closer look onto his younger self's clothes. Sure enough, his past self was around 12 years old. He wore a blue shorts, with a pair of shoes that are good for both walking and running, and a striped shirt of the colors purple and blue. Ironically, his hairstyle had been the same since he was kid, just a bit shorter. Who are you? Issei said frantically and lowly, remembering that his parents and Asia are sleeping. This made his younger self to smirk with his arms crossed. Simple, I'm your past self, the boy said before putting both of his hands on his hips. Issei Hai, age 15, soon to be born in April 16, 1997 in Narima, Japan. Moved here in Kuoh at 8 months old due to how small the apartment they were living in. Entered kindergarten a year late due to the fact you were mute at the time. Played video games to fill the gap when Irina Shindu moved back to Europe. Did a lot of things a kid wouldn't normally do. Among other things. This made Issei scared. How can this doppelganger know a lot of things that he may have forgotten? Obviously the only ones that know all of that is his parents and himself, if he can remember. So how in both heaven and hell does this lookalike knows all of this? Wait, if on what you said is true, then how can I believe you? Issei questioned his past ghost. Only you were so inspired by the things done on Contra the Hardcore, Super Mario 64 and Super Castlevania 4 that you actually did those things on an abandoned factory that was demolished a few years ago, Kid Issei said with a smirk at his present self before continuing with a frown. And it was after completing everything, you got bored after a while before seeing your first hentai at the age of 12. Resort Boing. Since then, you've been a pervert ever since that fateful day. He finished with an angry scowl on his 12-year-old face. This caused Issei to have wide eyes with a shock expression when he finished that. Holy shit. It is me. The brunette thought flabbergasted. The only one who knew his first hentai just so happened to be himself, and only he knew the name as well. Not even his friends or family knew about his first experience with porn was other than himself. I'm here to help to get on your feet. Issei was beginning to think he gone crazy. Sighing, the younger Hayudu explained. Look at stories of people who were given second chances. You're just looking at the surface. Despite what happened, it's not over just yet. Just look up motivational quotes and second chances and you'll know what I mean. At first Issei was confused before agreeing with his younger self as he looked up second chances. Much to his surprise, there was a lot stories of people getting second chances. Some of these are from ridiculous stories of a college professor who passed out in the middle of a lecture while his soul was pulled into hell to interesting ones where a serial criminal saved someone else for either forgiveness or redemption. Wow! The present Hayadu said as he continued reading more of these stories. You see, it's not over yet, said Kid. If you like that so much, then you should read Emperor Showa's Second Chance at Life. This shocked Issei on what he heard. Did the father of the current emperor of Japan had a second chance given to him by a foreigner? This he got to see. Quickly and almost instantly, Issei found lots of links to the biography of Emperor Showa. Oh, God. Issei whispered as he read more on the autobiography of Hirohito. It surprised him the most of what the former ruler of Japan had to go through before, during and after the Second World War. Nodding his head, Kid Issei continued, yes. After the Second World War, most of the political officials turn on him to accept his punishment, as set by Emperor Meiji the Great. However, he was given a second chance by American General Douglas MacArthur as he saw that without him, Japan would protest and rebel the occupation. Despite his actions from the war, he was forgiven by most leaders and helped Japan recover in a time of need. Issei heard while he continued reading, tears running down his face at the emotions that were written. He then stopped before turning to see his young, brunette past self. Why are you doing this to me? The current Issei asked with a couple sob to his old self. I mean, yeah, I did a lot of things that may take years to clear my name off. So why help me instead of haunt me? Because you're still young, Issei, he said as he looked at the window. Compared to them, you're still young and are able to correct the wrongs you did. Those like Emperor Showa were old and too late when they realized the errors of their actions. You can re-correct your actions right now before it comes back and haunt you in the future. This caused him to look down with a sad yet happy look on his face. Hey, that's good to know. Maybe there's still hope for me after all. The teen then looked at his past self. Hey, are you going to stay here to help me when I need it the most? Of course I'm with you. Remember, I'm you in the end. With that, the kid ghost entered his present self, leaving him frozen. Issei spaced out for about a minute or two before clearing up some stuff. He was thinking on to throwing away his pawn but realized that they may be worth some yen, so he got all of the posters down and got this video cassettes, DVDs and Blu-ray cases all packed up and ready to be sold. After having everything packed up, Issei was going to hit the hay before seeing his game consoles. After thinking it in 30 seconds, Issei got all of things plugged, inserted Yoshi's Island on the slot and began playing with earphones on and a smile on his face. Don't worry past me, I promise you that I'll change for the good. And I'm going through with it. Telepathy conversation. Thought telepathy conversation. Issei went to school the next day on his bike. Good thing it was his, as the last thing he wants is pissing the gang of delinquents from yesterday off even more. Seriously, he can't get her off his mind no matter what he does. It was just amazing, really. Especially from what his friends said about her yesterday. Flashback start. Waya at it? Both Matsuda and Motohama shouted in shock. Is their friend crazy? How can he ask such insane question to begin with? Issei. The former jock said as he grabbed Issei's shoulders and shook him like a magnitude 9 earthquake before letting him go. Are you crazy, boy? Why would you want to know about that, girl? All while his friend trying to get his balance together. The brunette yelped from all the shaking before being disorienting after his friend's stop. Whoa, what's up with you guys? The former pervert said in concern. Did she did something to you too? This time it was his glasses-wearing friend to gulp, like he was going to vomit before swallowing the content. She is a man-eater, Issei. She can measure the human body like I do. Motohama then readjusted his glasses before he continued. However, while I do it to girls only, she does the same to boys only. And to make matters worse, she then tells that poor victim his size. It then hit Issei like a ton of bricks fell on him. Let me guess, she told you too your sizes, didn't she? He ended with a nervous gulp. The boys squirmed like girls who saw a mouse pass by. Yes, they shouted. And she said we're nothing but baby carrots. The two guys then hold each other and cried, in shame that they may not actually satisfy women, if they're lucky in bed. Issei was stunned at this before ignoring his friends as he saw this with a critical look on his face. So, you're playing hard to get, the brunette thought as he turned to the sunset. He then smirked at this sudden obstacle, ignoring that his friends were still sob. Well, two can play that game. Flashback over. Issei passed by the marketplace in downtown, being greeted by the people. He smiled and waved back at them from his heroic actions from yesterday. In the past, some of them ignored him, particularly the women because of his perverseness, but were now happy that he changed from his action the day before. Though some were still weary of him. You see, when Issei was running in late, he stumbled the market in downtown Kuoh. Here he saw the local gang were picking on a poor middle school kid. The sellers tried to help him, but the gang blackmailed them to not do anything without risking losing business. That unfortunately goes to all customers as well. How these delinquents got the dirt is a mystery. However, the teen was not on that list and got their attention when he threw a melon to the back of one's head. Issei soon took them all of them on Mad Max style. And by that I mean a hit-and-run tactic which surprisingly worked. From this, the marketplace was very happy to be free from the gang's control and change their opinion on the boy. Despite of this, however, there are some vendors who are still suspicious of him. Not that he blamed them, of course. The former victim, Aki Fujimoto, the younger brother of the vice captain of the kendo club, Keitase Fujimoto, said, "Hey kid, how you been?" Issei asked happily. It was the least he can do, if you can call it that. Due to his past lewd actions, he had a bad reputation. However, after Yumma dumped him, he slowly changed back to a casually kind of guy he once was. "Nothing much, and I'm doing very well now after yesterday," he replied. Issei scratched his head from the compliment. Well, what he did was the right thing to do after all. "You're welcome, little buddy. Hey, how's your sister doing?" he asked in order to change the subject. Despite his heroic actions, he did pass out for almost 6 to 7 hours, and Keitase still have the same opinion on him of being a pervert from yesterday. "Nei-chan is doing all right," Aki replied happily. "Mommy and Daddy are also happy for what you did. I think they might forgive you for looking at Nei-chan. Whatever that means." The brunette was chuckling nervously at that comment. So young, yet because of him, this little boy might be exposed to pawn. "Well, Issei said as he began to figure out a way out of this. There was no way he was turning this innocent kid into a pervert anytime soon. Don't think about it too much, kid. There are a lot of things you should be doing, like having fun with friends and family alike." Thankfully, the little kid smiled as he was walking with the former pervert. He then went to school to kick off Tuesday. Later, the day had been normal, or as you can say, as normal it can get for him since last week. Classes here and there, work and assignments as well, with some the occasional homework. Lunch had also been somewhat fine since last week. Today he made roughly 35,671.80 Japanese yen, or $300 US, for selling a portion of his pawn collection to his buddies, who were shocked but quickly forgiven him. You know what I mean. It was good from lunch to the last passing PRD until Kiba Yudo came by, who is the Prince of Kuoh and hated by a majority of boys for good reasons. It wasn't that bad to say the least. No, instead he asked that the president of the Occult Research Club wants to see him. Now if this was Perverted Issei, he would have gone along since it was Rias, the Great One-san. However, this is a different Issei who became suspicious of this turn of events. Especially during the last passing PRD of the day. Not only that, but they also gained the attention of nearby yaoi fangirls, who made the assumption that they were gay lovers. The brunette was gritting his teeth and was going to retort before seeing the familiar pigtailed girl walking the corner. "Move over, pretty boy," Issei yelled as he shoved Kiba to the wall harshly as he took chase. The small girl audience and the prince stayed there in shock on what just happened. Did Issei just shove the Prince of Kuoh away? As the brunette took chase to find his target, he saw there was obstacles on his way. Luckily last week gave him practice to get back in shape. Now Issei hopes all that training and practice was worth it, or it's still early to get back in the game. "Out of the way," he shouted as he jumped over a random girl, nearly hitting himself from the ceiling if he hand crouch. Next he took a hard right turn, which led to him near Tsubaki, the student's council vice president, who was startled by his sudden appearance. "Sheet," the brunette muttered as he slid between her legs, which was luckily wide open. He didn't care as his mind was on one person right now, Aika Kiryu. He got up fast and continued to find the pigtail girl, ignoring the threat of the vice student president. He then made a quick left, seeing Saji and a couple girls from the student council coming his way, which he improvised. The blonde devil was freaking out that Issei wasn't slowing down, that it surprised him on what he did. You see, when the teen Hayadu was coming their way, Momo sensed him and silently put on a spell to make him trip. However, the spell wasn't fast enough as the brunette defied them by jumping onto the wall and running on it before jumping off and rolled forward. It was truly astonishing to see a human outsmart a weak spell like that. Any normal human couldn't detect anything like that, but apparently Issei Hayadu can. If only he knew it was by luck. Though the student council members quickly remember and yelled at him. The brunette got up quickly as he ran down the hallways before seeing the greatest challenge he hadn't encountered, even as a child, the stairs. The place was heavy populated with students either going up and down to class or just chilling around. He stopped to see Aika walking down the staircase before disappearing into the crowd, which made him angry. Looks like it all for nothing, right? He already came this far. There was no way that something like this will put him down. After taking a deep breath, Issei sprinted to the stairs, just as he began to time the jump right. Some of the students began to make way for him as got halfway near the top of the stairs. He then did something made everyone wonder if it was a dream. The brunette kept running before crouch, while in his speed, Issei jumped from the first step of the staircase, shocking the audience. Then they saw he going to collide with the wall when Issei had both arms and legs in front of him before touching it. Instead of using them to lessen the crash, he jumped from the wall upon he quickly extended the 4 moving limbs, which made many to wonder if this is a dream. However, Issei didn't thought that well on landing as he fell and bounced on the bottom stairs like the ragdoll physics on Dead or Alive. Unfortunately, it wasn't over for Issei as he rolled from the stairs on his back after reaching the bottom floor. Thankfully his bag acted as a parachute before he can take any more damage. Some of the students went to check on him while others gossip of what they just saw, while a few went to tell the nurse on what happened. Though that wasn't necessary when he got up like it was nothing, surprising them. Shaking his head a couple of times to shake off the dizziness, he looked around to see where Aika went to. The brunette told the kids it was nothing to fear about, causing them to look at him with pity. Damn it, he muttered as he got up before seeing it was a minute and a half to make it back to his final class of the day, which he hurried. Time skip. It had been Thursday and students were cautious of Issei, which he really couldn't blame them. Since Tuesday, he kind of made it his personal mission to find Aika Kiryu. While it was 1 run on the last passing break 2 days ago, there was the total 4 runs on Wednesday. This obviously gotten the attention of his parents, who were angry on what he was thinking and reminding him he wasn't even like his old self. He apologized to the student council as well as his parents. Now it was Thursday morning and chemistry class has started. They did nothing but work until the teacher talked to them into the last 10 minutes in the class PRD. He said there was going to be a project on what they're doing, and saying that it will be a 2-partner assignment. Issei didn't pay attention before it suddenly rang on him that he forgot to take attendance. The professor quickly asked for roll. It was normal till it reached to the KS in the classroom that finally gotten his attention. Issei looked stunned at the teacher before being shocked on what he said. Aika Kiryu was in his first PRD class this entire time? Blas motherfucking Femi. He looked around quickly before seeing the glasses-wearing representative was 3 rows to the right from him. She was here this entire time? Issei was currently kicking himself in his head mentally. Of course. Of bloody course. Nurse Ren said she was in class 2A, which we share. The brunette had his face down after he finished. How the hell did I forget that piece of info? He was quickly snap out of his daze as his teacher said this. Now please find a partner for this project. Remember, only 2 people. No more than that. Understood? Everybody nodded their head, knowing he was serious as usual. Happy with the reply, he gave them the go. Good. Now quickly please find your partner. Upon saying that and faster than anyone can react, the desk of Aika Kiryu was flipped frontward, startling the whole class. Dust was surrounding the area before clearing out. The cause was none other than Issei Hayadu himself, which again surprised everyone. Hayden, just what is the meaning of this? The professor demanded, but was ignored as everyone froze again on what the brunette announced. Will you be my partner and jet tok know each other at lunch today? Time seemed to have slowed down upon that announcement. Did Issei had a death wish for asking the question? The girls, minus Aika, turned their belongings to weapons while boys and the teacher look in shock. Aika was also surprised at this but kept calm as she looked in with amusement from this. Oh my, Ayan, Aika began with a smirk on her face. Why, I'm curious on what you just said, the class representative continued. Did you said that will I be your partner for this little project? Her answer was a nod from the brunette, making the audience in the room more shocked than they are. As well asking me out for lunch? Again he nodded, showing desperation. The females in the class tightened their grip of their makeshift weapons while the males turned to stone at this point. Now may I ask why? This made the male brunette to be deep in thought before choosing his words correctly. Well, I want to try something. After all, I think you have heard of what I've been doing lately. That's true, as the Hayudutine wasn't a pervert lately, save the marketplace from the local gang and doing acrobat training in public areas. Knowing that Matsuda and Motohama will be together, I will probably be alone during the whole project, so I was hoping for us to work together. The male teen looked at her with hope in his eyes. So can we please? The girls were waiting for a signal to pulverize Issei while the boys and teacher were shattered to dust at this point before something surprising happened. I will accept then, Aika said, shocking everyone as Issei was celebrating in the inside before stopping as she looked at him. Don't be late, she reminded with a smirk as the bell rang. Both perverts grabbed their stuff before leaving the classroom, leaving behind a shocked audience who saw this proposal unfold. Matsuda and Motohama quickly got in front of the crowd, shocked on what they saw. Issei, their leader, their friend, a fellow true pervert among perverts, possible going out with the man-eater of Kuoh? Oh, the bloody horrors! And to top it all off, he ignored everybody else in the class for Aika Kiryu. The two then looked at each other before expressing what was happening before them, with the rest of the audience agreeing with them. Has he lost his mind? Can he see, or is he blind? Can he walk at all? Or if he moves will he fall? Apparently so. Lunchtime. Word spread like wildfire around the academy faster than saying the letter "he," and that's a first. Now Issei was a nervous wreck. He doesn't know who should he blame, himself or his teacher, but either way he's in this situation. The students aren't even helping as well from all the gossiping, thanks from this morning and his friends. Not only he was nervous, but also scared when he was told that Kiryu-san was a Fujoshi, or yaoi fan, something that he didn't know of. The brunette couldn't blame them since Aika had gained his attention in ways that even Rias Gremory can't do. I don't know what she did to get my attention, Issei though, as he took his lunch as he went to the rooftop for his date with Destiny. While going up the stairs, he didn't bother to see that a majority of the students were coming up there to see how will things unfold. I mean, Rias has an amazing body that any girl wants and every single guy's wet dream. Her red, long hair in also attractive that can make her a prime prey for any predator. But I just don't know how to explain it, but she just has this thing that makes her stand out. Once Issei got to the door, he paused. He went to another internal conflict. Come on, Issei. Man up. He mentally encouraged himself at this problem he's in. You killed Dracula and Death 4 times. Saved the world from the horrors of Red Falcon without a shirt. Annihilated those demed spawnable BSTRDS in Ninja Gaiden, as well in Shinobi countless times. Heck, even smashed into cars in F-Zero to win the crazy race. Then he quickly slumped his head down. But I can't talk to a real girl. Everyone were waiting to see if Issei gave up before he raised his right fist in the air. Come on, Issei. Be a man. If the games I played taught me anything is 2 things. 1. Don't knock it till you try it. The audience heard Issei muttered as he took a deep breath before opening the door slowly. And 2. Don't give up until you improved and succeed. With this new courage found and in use, Issei opened the door widely as he made his way to see the female pervert. Heh, surprised to see you here, Issei, greeted the surprised girl as the boy made his way to her. I thought you would chicken out? Yeah, he started awkwardly, cursing himself at this bad start. The teen quickly straightened himself as he continued. Well, I don't want to make a lady wait for nothing now. Really? Most of the time you wait for them as they change outfits while in their undergarments, I think. She smirked as she began to look over his body. The guys, who were victims of her gaze, instantly clutched their manhoods for protection. Issei, however, saw this coming thanks to the information he got from Nurse Ren and his friends. That and he took a test online if he was stuck or not, which he surprisingly was, sorta. He did this on Wednesday since he was bored that night. Issei is stuck as long as he put in effort when the moment is right, like the situation is now. Seeing something you like, Issei seductively started as he moved suavely towards her, which surprised the pigtailed girl. The kendo club resisted the urge to go out and save their fellow comrade from danger. The male populations, however, were slack-jawed and were silent, worshipping the brunette of this courageous stunt. Aika-chan? The female pervert took out her hand fan to cover her blush. For once there is a challenge, as this one fine piece of meat did his research right. Makes big barks and bites back aggressively? Aika thought as she readjusted his glasses with a gleam on her face with a smirk. Oh, this will be good. Olive green met with muddy brown as their eyes lock into each other. Both were smirking at each other with confidence in their eyes. They just have to wait till someone says something. The crowd who were spying on them were eating and waiting for someone to do a daring move. Either you are a god among men or an idiot, Motohama stated as he gritted his teeth at the suspense. He better not do anything perverted to Kiryu-san, Kei-Tace growled as she took out her kendo stick that wasn't there moments ago. Teach, Matsuda, surprisingly, scoffed at her. There's a reason why she's called the man-eater of Kuoh, Fujimoto-san. She eats up the boys quickly and doesn't leave them to make a comeback. Let's also not forget that she can destroy a man's pride. And the fact that Issei is attracted to her means it's either a miracle or disaster. Then if what you said is true, I will only have this to say, Murayama said as she gulped some water before putting it down. It's 2013, the world is coming to an end. Nobody replied anything as they agreed with that statement. It wasn't long as that they heard the two continuing their conversation. So tell me, Aika said as she got out her bento or lunchbox, as they both sat down with Issei getting his own out. How was your week so far? The brunette just opened his soda as he heard this before giving her a questioned face. The female teen smiled as she leaned in. Starting from last Monday, from your sudden change of attitude and behavior to now. She ended with a smirk and determined face. Issei hesitantly sat there as gulped down on his drink he had before stopping. He was back at square one again. It was sheer luck that Nurse Ren believed him, but saying it to the girl he now wants will be a challenge. Then again, if old Obi-Wan Kenobi can tell a half-truth half-lie to Luke, then maybe he can too. He hopes movie logic can help him here since he really needs it. Well, this SCK. Issei mentally ummed. Now how am I going to get through this? I doubt movie logic will help. But remember, don't knock it till you try it. This made the brunette so turned to see his child ghost self in the open, right next to him. Surprise? Of course you are. How the hell is this even possible? He asked telepathic towards his younger self. On second thought, how are we talking without Aika looking at me like I'm crazy? Simple, we're in your mind. The younger Issei shouted with a smile on his face, much to the surprise and confusion of his present self before shaking his head. You're hopeless sometimes, you know that? Hey! Issei retorted from the inner child. Just saying, child, he replied with a shrug. To put it simple, it's like an anime where the hero can enter his mind and once he or she is out, they realize that only a few seconds, if any, has passed in the real world. This made the present Hayudu to nod, now understanding it better. So why the heck am I here? He mentally asked towards his counterpart in confusion. The younger version smiled as thought bubbles appeared? His eyes must be deceiving right now. Maybe he should lay the video games low right now. Do you remember the game Fire Emblem for the Super Famicom? SE asked towards Issei. The older brunette thought about before nodding, now knowing which game and how hard it was. It was a nightmare to beat the whole game without losing a single unit the entire time. Then the bubbles soon had words appear on them, each having different result. Depending on which one you choose to say and how you say it determines the results from Aika. So you must choose wisely. It's similar to dating sims, just not those erogens. Don't you have any shame? Issei nodded while scratching in embarrassment as this was a tough one. He each eyes them carefully, making sure he doesn't regret it before pointing it. It mainly began with a reality check, so to speak. The male brunette began, now back to the real world. He noticed no time has passed since Aika still held her smirk, meaning it was true on what his child ghost said. This made everyone taken back on what he said as Issei continue. It happened from Sunday of 2 weeks ago. You could say that I had a nightmare which felt extremely real. It was like I saw my life going through my very own eyes in a movie theater. And quite frankly, I didn't really liked it. Not one bit. The whole student body froze upon hearing such thing. Who was this boy with an awesome hairstyle and what have they done the pervert? They love to hate. Wow, commented Child Issei. This is truly a good performance so far. You should have been involved of drama class instead of peeking at the girls. Issei smiled at the compliment. Really? Aika had her eyebrows raise. Yeah, it was, he continued. My childhood wasn't all looking at porn or anything. In fact, was the opposite. I did had more friends, more outgoing, more proactive on what I do. Now looking back, it really scares me on what I wasted and become. You weren't like this as kid? She asked, to which he nodded. That's true for the most part, the male pervert confirmed. My parents will gladly tell you how I once was a great person. Up until now, they don't want to talk about it since how can anyone believe them? He then looked down in shame. I brought disgrace to the family by being a pervert. Heck, they even said it that they gave up on me to give them grandchildren, and that hurts me a lot. I just felt trash upon knowing the truth. It really made me see things differently now. Was that enough to give you a reason to change? She asked with narrowed eyes as he nodded. So that happened 2 weeks ago, but what about last week? Care to explain to me about it? Oh, last week was both good and awkward, Issei replied with a smile. I was changing back to how once was while also giving Asia a tour around Kuoh. Man, you should have seen how good she is with those yo-yos I brought her. One time while we took a train back from, I had to go to the bathroom. Unfortunately, some gropers were doing their usual grabbing. I just went to the bathroom when they approached her. The girls were disgusted that the perverted beast would leave a girl for dead, while Aika looked at him with curious. But something unexpected and interesting happened. What do you mean? What happens next? Aika asked as Issei smiled. While being distracted on her yo-yos, she unintentionally performed a backswing, knocking one of the idiots out, he explained. I just got out and I was going to help her when she dealt with the both of them. All the girls were cheering for her heroism, yet she looked around as if she did something embarrassing. The female brunette smiled at such thought as she remembered hearing it from her mother a couple days ago. Then something dawned on her. Asia? You mean the blonde girl I see you taking everywhere you go after school? The female pervert recounted seeing the two. This made Issei's imagination to stop cold. How can he forgot he's talking to the one he loves? Me and my big mouth. He mentally berated himself. Well, she's my sister. The brunette explained in a hurry. This made everyone to look at him with wide eyes. With a sister? Aika asked before bursting in laughter. Oh my this have got to be rich. Good one, Hayadu. The boy, however, was looking around nervously. It dawned on everyone that he wasn't joking. You're serious? The class representative asked, looking stunned. You have a sister? Adopted, Issei corrected. She came to stay at the church nearby, even though it's been close for years. This now made her to raise both her eyebrows. Why would she stay at an abandoned church in town? This made the male pervert to shrug as well. Wasn't she notified it hadn't been used in years? Beats me. I even asked the same question and she told the church told her to be relocated here. Aika crossed her arms underneath her chest. That's odd, even for a religion that says it helps the innocents, the pigtail girl pointed out. Tell me about, I had to tell my parents to finally convince her to come and stay with us. Signing the adopted papers too, the teen male replied. This made the pigtail girl to look at him funny. You do realize that even a new girl can instantly tell that you're a pervert and want to stay away from as far as possible, right? Aika giggled. It's true, as girls can tell a pervert and want to run to the hills. She has faith in me that I can change, Issei counter with a smirk. Which I'm doing. I don't want nothing to do with it, as it brings back some unpleasant memories. Speaking of which, your perversion? Aika asked with a smirk. How and why you became a big pervert, since it seems to me that you weren't one to begin with. Issei gulped as she got him by the ball again. The only solution for this to work is by confessing to her, which his child self nodded. You're right, he replied, looking down. I wasn't all of a pervert that you and everyone see me as today. Heck, if you saw me from back then, you wondered onto how I fell from grace. This made everyone curious on what he meant, while a majority snorted. What was he, an angel? There was no way the perverted beast wasn't all like this back then. Yet they were curious on how it happened to who Issei was before being known as the perverted beast. As a kid, I was adventurous, most brave on doing more dangerous things. You could say I was a daredevil and liked to live dangerously. Issei finished as he smiled with his eyes shut. You want to talk about? The pigtail girl asked, who also wanted to know what happened. Since I'm curious who you were and how you became a pervert. The male brunette's smile turned to a sad one. Maybe, Issei said as he before looking at her. Though you would think I'm crazy. This made the female brunette to smirk. What, you think I won't believe you? Aika asked. I find that hard to believe. Just try me, Hayadu. Curious, I like that, Issei commented on her. Alright, if you want to know, don't say I made it up. The male brunette then rearranged himself to sit good before looking at her, straight in the eye. I was a free runner as a kid. I did lots of things that my parents did their best to stop me from getting hurt. There was some silence before she laughed again. Oh, I wish you are joking to impress me, the female brunette said before calming down. But it seems to me that this was once real. Aika then looked at him seriously, dead in the eye. Which brings me to my next question. How did you become a pervert? She asked the million-dollar question. This made Issei to look at Child SE for any suggestion. Two though bubbles came up, and they were both hard. You shitting me? He mentally shouted to his child self. You want me to tell one of these? Get out of here. Oh, I'm sorry, child, he said, mockingly sad. I didn't realize that you are a baby. He then looked at Issei with a disappointed expression. Not everything goes exactly as planned. Either tell her it was from an old man as a kid or watching Tai as age 12. It's your move. This made Issei to think furiously. Things just get harder and harder before an idea came up. Make things up and the time go along, of course, the older brunette male thought, while his younger self looked in confusion. This made him to take deep breath. I became a pervert through an old man long ago, Issei recounted. You became a pervert from an old man? Aika asked before shrugging. A lot of pervert are old men, as it been shown lately. Yeah, it happened when I was about 9 or 11, Issei began. Me and a bunch of other kids were near to him, as he said he have a fascinating story to tell. Being's kids, we were curious. He facepalmed. He then, shamelessly, told of a story. The story of a man going to a river and finding an epee in it. While he was shaking his head, a few students were barely reminiscing of this from happening. No one knows why, but it feels like they were once there with a young Issei. Still, it was disgusting for an old man, with no shame, to tell a story to innocent children of such perversion. Is that what made you into a pervert, Hayadu? The female Kiryu asked. Yep. As a kid, you become curious on what he meant, and that becomes a problem later in my life. It's probably the biggest mistake in my life, don't you agree? Issei said as he looked at her. His child self facepalm, wondering if it can even work. Aika, on the other hand, huffed before looking at him with a smirk. Oh, Ian, there's nothing wrong being a pervert. The girls were shocked on what they heard. Did the class representative of class I2 saying is okay to be a pervert? Is just the way you act with it. You and your friends do it wide in the open, exposing yourselves like deers in headlights. The brunette was jaw-dropped on what he heard. Now this gave him more motivation onto claiming her to be his child. He was gobsmacked shocked at this as well. So, he began to form words from her declaration. You're saying that is all right being a pervert? It was still surprising that this is coming from a girl. You just have to keep it a secret? Like a closet perv? Yes. Aika huffed with pride, her BRST jiggling from the motion. The Kiryu clan has its share of perverted women in the family. Do they act as slots? Do they make even the most perverted or brute of a man blush in 100 shades of red that can give a chili pepper a run for its money while it being jealous? I could be surprised of this, but I'll be honest with you, Haidu, perversion runs in the family for me. Heck, I got my skills from my grandmother. This made the secret audience and Issei to blush in shock from the blunt statement. The boys, including Haidu, were sporting nosebleeds of such thoughts. That was completely unexpected by all standards. Didn't see that coming. Were the thoughts of everyone who heard the proclamation. Really? He asked, stopping the blood from leaking, while she continued with a smirk. Yeep. Aika beamed with pride. The women in the Kiryu clan can make even the most stoic man alive to be a blushing mess. Not even your gang of perverts are no match for a woman of my family. She doesn't know why but feels fine telling him about these things. After all, it's not every day you get to know that a girl is part of a family tree of female domination of perverts. WL. Issei was getting some steam out as this was probably too much for him. Thank God that one of the benefits of being a pervert is endurance. And besides, my mom said it's natural to be a pervert, there's nothing wrong being one. Have you seen some paintings of the past? They just as perverted as we are now, if not too much. The announcement made all to blush at such thing. Issei was once again speechless from all of this. Whoa, Kate said as she fanned herself as the drama was setting in. This reminds me of that one soap opera that I liked very much when I was young, Murayama exclaimed at the memories. By all means, it's not so bad, Aika explained as she readjusted her glasses. You rarely see a woman to act so cunningly, don't you say? I don't blame you or any boys to be scared from me. Besides, back then when we all wore loincloths, it was natural to look at each other's naked bodies. Now we only care if you're nice, good-looking, money, and all that materialistic stuff. What you and I are doing is completely natural, it's just how you show is frown on society. Why thought all the girls hate your guts? They were raised to frown upon it, while I wasn't. Which also brings me to this. Issei then turned his body towards her. He tried to begin but was embarrassed. This is hard. You want me to see your size? The pigtail girl finished for him with smirk. This made the girls to almost barge in if it wasn't for the boys to held them, if barely. The male teen look away, blushing a storm. Is that how you knew to counter my skills? Now this got everyone to calm down as Issei look at her. Modama Matsuda, along with Nurse Ren, told me of your specialty, so to speak, he said to her, still red. I got to admit, it surprised me a lot but actually found you attractive through it. Aika finally blushed at this. Did he found her very attractive from her skills? Oh really? She asked with a smirk. Because I don't believe you if you prove. If you want me to prove it, then you can by doing this, the male pervert said as he got up, allowing her to see his manhood. The boys freak out as the man-eater got up and began to see his size. No. Issei. All the boys screamed in fear. Being victims of Aika's gaze, they hoped that the horn dog of Kuoh could tame the man-eater. Instead he was willingly allow her to see his manhood. It's the end of the bloody world. Satoshi, a freshman in Kuoh Academy, screamed and he hugged a nearby male first year. The Mayans were right. Matsuda yelled as he ran in circles. Bloody hell, they were right. Guys, Murayama said, trying to calm down the panicking boys and getting their attention. Why are you so hung up on Kiryu-san? I mean, yes, she's a pervert, but what makes her an enemy of men? After calming down, Motohama stepped forward while gulping hard. Minamoto-san, she can, to put it bluntly, able to see how big a male's manhood is just by looking at them. As well as telling the poor soul his size. Heck, was because of her gift she put an end to the crime spree of gropers, peeping toms, RPST, even serial killers. The girls were jaw-dropped on that they heard from the glasses-wearing boy. Was their class representative that powerful? Why you thought all of us boys are shaking to the bones? That was true since first PRD, as every boy in the school were having panic attacks, as even the male teachers were in it. Because we're also more of her victims. Matsuda finished for his buddy. This made more of the girls to fan themselves. Surely this must be a dream, right? How can one girl put even more perverted than the most perverted boys in Kuoh to know their places? It's just not possible. Now we found our messiah in Issei, my friend who we never leave behind dash. Don't you two leave him for death when you three get caught? A female kendo member interrupted ask. Most of girls nodded since it was true, though they were ignored as perverted duo continue. He's our savior to combat that man-eater, the glasses-wearing pervert said before shivering in fear. Though now all hope is gone as he'd been seduced by her charms. Then why is she nose bleeding? Kate asked as she opened the door slightly, while they're talking. This made everyone to look at her with stunned expressions. Heh, was the response of the student audience as they saw what was happening. Issei had his eyes closed, preparing for the worst. Though about a minute has passed and nothing happened, he gently and slowly opened his eyes, before widening them quickly to see what's happening. What he saw also surprised him as the others. Aika Kiryu, the man-eater of Kuoh as well as the class representative of 2A, was nose-bleeding with a huge blush on her face while giggling very pervertedly. A sight that usually means something is bad, but the male brunette knew it was different. After all, he has that expression when he sees something that catches even something better than Matsuda can see. And they called us perverts, Issei thought before it dawned on him. Whoever thought that men are more perverted than women must have been feminist. I think we're all equal in that department. Oh, Issei, Aika spoke in a very stuck tone, which shocked everyone as Issei looked at her with widened eyes, body frozen in place. My. She slid her right hand to her chin while her left went to her hips. To think you're very gifted in that area as well. She then had a grin on her face that made all the boys froze in fear, but made Issei fully ours from it. Almost giving him the Weibner, the rate face. On a girl. I must have died and went to heaven, the male brunette thought with sudden brace of joy. Only myself, idiot. Only myself, commented Childy, though he had a blush on his face as well. Aika then moved up, walking around him slowly. May I ask if it was true on all the things you said is true? The pigtail pervert asked. This made the male pervert to nod as he got prepared. From what you said from your childhood, and the actions from Tuesday and Wednesday, it seems to me you were a free runner, right? Yes, I was and still am, the male brunette replied. You weren't a pervert till you were around 10, let's stick with that, when the old man told you the story, yes? That's also true. You also have a sister that's adopted into your family since, give or take, for 2 weeks, right? Yes, that's right. If on what you says is true, then this gives a very good reason, a bunch of reason actually, to accept you as my partner, Aika said with her grin on. And maybe as my boyfriend as well. This made everyone look at her in shock while Issei. Well, he's sorta taking it good. Let's take a look inside of his mind, shall we? Back I say. Childy said as he mentally fought a new personality being born within the mind of Issei Haidu as he used a long stick with a sharp end to fight it back. Evil demon. Then the long piece of wood pulled in, making him go pale with fear. Oh God, no. So will ya? Will ya? He said desperately. Oh, but Issei, I prefer handsome men, she teased with a smirk. Maybe we can be, but you're more like I don't know when you were a kid, but I highly doubt we can be together. Besides, all men have different styles that attracts women. And last time I check, you're still an epee maniac. Can you really love me despite being a big BRSD lover? The hell with that. Issei retorted as he looked at her, taking everyone aback again. How about this? That I will be as handsome as I can get for us to be in a relationship while helping you grow to the right bust size. After all, I myself do like a challenge. This now made the secret audience to look at him if he had grown an extra head. Aika, on the other hand, smirked as she looked at him. Then it's a deal then, the girl pervert said as she pulled him for a peck on checks. I'll see you next time, partner. After all was said and done now, Aika left Issei there, all alone with a shock expression with his arms limp. The audience made room for the class representative, who made her way going down the stairs. They took a double dip on what they just heard right. Did Issei hide a promise to be handsome to gain the affection of Aika Kiryu? While also help her grow to the right Ipei size? Has the idiot got rid of his brain for a bloody potato? It wasn't until he fainted on the spot with a major nose blood following it. Hell, why? He screamed in joy within a few seconds as he quickly recovered with a massive smile on his face, shocking the boys and girls. The brunette looked up at the sky as he jumped excitedly with one arm across the other while raising a fist. Don't worry, Aika-chan, that's a promise I will keep. While it was good news for Issei and Aika, it was bad news for the students as they saw the whole ordeal unfold. Now most of Kuoh began to wonder if this is a clear sign of the apocalypse. Now if only the devils of Kuoh even gave a sheet on what happened as they were busy with something else. Mainly Sona to trying to get Issei to not do any more crazy stunts to Rias wanting him in her peerage. All caught in their own affairs to notice what happened. Well, this will be a very interesting future. Friday is a good day. It was always a good day that unofficially starts the weekend off. Nothing bad happens the best day of the week, unless it was the 13th if you live in the West. If you live in the East, then the only days you got to be worried about is 4th and 9th day of the month, as well as April and September as a whole in Japan. So where did things went wrong? The answer? No one knows. Then again, it probably started on a Friday. More appropriately the one after Issei made his promise to Aika, which was on the 4th Friday of that January month. I still can't believe you are partnered with Aika, Motohama exclaimed. It hadn't been 2 days and both friends, hell, the whole school who saw it can't get over the fact that the Kiryu clan is a clan full of female demonrex and Issei had ball of steels to have Aika as his partner. Sighing, Issei looked at them with a cheap smile and a sweat dropped. Yes, I understand what I did was crazy, but you guys have to give me credit for doing this, Issei replied to them with a nervous face. No! Matsuda shouted, which made the brunette to wince for his ears. How can you deliberately go be with Aika Kiryu and not know of her infamous reputation as the man-eater of Kuoh? This made Issei shrugged. Not my fault, none of you guys told me about. Issei explained his reason, and it was true. Issei must have been too evasive and busy to be a victim of the Kiryu stare. A stare made by a female Kiryu that can look at a man and instantly knows his personal secrets. Both friends still in despair for getting Issei to change his mind, which wasn't happening anytime soon. Seeing this won't be going anywhere, he decided to change the subject. Speaking of girls, I have some collection on sale. That shut them up as Issei smirked as he took it out of his bag. Want some? Lunch started to be normal again for the trio. Issei just sold another portion of his pawn collection to his friends when Kiba came. The brunette was chilling when the prince came up to him and asked him if he can follow him to his club. Obviously this made nearby girls to fawn while his friends grit their teeth. Issei's sweat dropped as he can blame them. Kiba's looks are natural that makes him attractive to girls, along with his personality. Though the surprising thing was that Kiba went to him and bowed. Why was he doing this? Issei may want to have new friends, but not want to cause a misunderstanding. The girls can cause quite the gossiping story for hearing something they didn't hear well. Issei Hayadu, I presume? Kiba asked as he stood up straight. The brunette raised a brow before nodding. That's me, he answered as he got up, arms crossed. Is there something that involves me, Kiba? Actually, is about from Tuesday, Kiba stated, which made Issei facepalm with a groan. Though this made Motohama and Matsuda to look at Issei with a confused expression. What's he talking about, Motohama asked as Matsuda gasped. Don't tell me, the former jock said, entering hyperventilating mode for fearing the worst. No, ya bloody idiot, Issei growled as he held his head in annoyance. Yees, and sometimes you guys are a lot worse than the girls. He then turned to Kiba. If this is about shoving you to wall from that run on Tuesday, I'm sorry, Issei apologized to him. This stunned the audience as his friends were taken aback again. Wait, the perverted nerd exclaimed as he looked at him in shock. You shove Kiba to a wall? Shoving as in like, get out of my way, punk? Kind of shove? This made the girls to glare angrily at Issei, who scratched his head as he nodded while Matsuda joined in with him. Issei. Oh. The bald friend said as he held his head, mouth gaping. You are a god. The two then got in their knees as they bowed to their friend. Saji, who was nearby and hearing the commotion, went to check what is happening as saw Issei, Kiba, a group of girls standing awkwardness, though in controlled anger in Hayadu's case. Next to them are Mand bowing as they raise their bodies before bowing again. A god, I say. What is going on here? Saji demanded from the scene as human brunette wave a hand. They're celebrating of me being partner with Aika. Yesterday and pushing Kiba away from Tuesday, Issei explained. This made the messy blonde to look at him with a blank look before shaking his head. Well, I want this to be over right now, Sayu ordered, since this is causing too much of a scene. This made Issei to sigh again as he told Mand to stop. Upon it being all over, he then turned to Kiba. Speaking of which, what did you want from me? Issei asked to him. Finally back on track, Kiba crossed his arm to his chest. Now that is out of the way, I'll be blunt. Bucho wants to speak with you, the good-looking blonde said. This made Issei to narrow his eyes with a brow again. Bucho? Bucho of what to be exact? A club president wanting to see me? For what? And what is the club he's representing? Issei asked. Bucho Rias Gremory of the Occult Research Club wants you to be there, Saji said, surprised that Issei doesn't know about who's in charge of the club, as well which club Kiba is part of. Ah shit. Issei mentally cursed as he knew, at that moment, he effed up. Just how the hell did he forget that Rias Gremory is in charge of the ORC? He'll never know. But then again, he just got Aika as his partner, so maybe that's the case. Then something that should have been expected happened to him that still caught everyone off guard. Matsuda and Motohama double lariat Issei as they started to beat him up. This startled the blondes as the perverted duo were punching Issei, as well as strangling him. This also stunned the girls as the perverted duo was beating up their leader, since they believe the three always stick together no matter what. Looks like that one kendo girl said is true for Mand leaving Hayadu for dead when caught. One of the girls did the smart thing as to do and began to record the fight with her phone. Diamenu, Issei. Matsuda shouted as he strangled him from behind, making Issei's breathing hard. First you get partnered up with the most dangerous girl in the school, and now going to see the most beautiful one, San. Just what is your secret? Motohama yelled with manly tears running down as he punched Issei in the stomach. Seeing that this is going out of hand, both blondes went to help the poor brunette. Back it up. Back it up. Saji exclaimed as he held Matsuda's arms while Kiba is doing the same for Motohama, pulling them away from the downed teen. While the mess is being handled, Saji called Sona to send in some seniors to help out and take them to the detention center. Kiba, feeling sorry for causing this, went to Issei as he extending an arm for him. Need a hand? He said with an embarrassing expression. Issei knew it was accident as he took his hand. Once he got up, Kiba once again crossed his chest again with a hand. I'm sorry for causing the commotion. I didn't know they would have done that to a friend. Ah, it's all right, Issei replied to him as he was going to feel in the hour. Just don't say it in front of them ever again. They will flip for being, losers. There was a small chuckle coming from Kiba as he shrugged before becoming serious. Just don't let it get into you. Now why would Rias want me, the horn dog of Kuoh? Now this was something odd as both Saji and Kiba expected Issei to follow them without a second thought. This is a strange development indeed that must be reported in. Well, she seeks you audience for her reasons, Issei. Now would you deny her request? Kiba asked. This made the male brunette to think carefully as he knew it can be trap but got nothing to lose but his infamous reputation to be more bad. Screw it, Issei said as he shrugged before slinging his bag over his shoulder. Lead the way. The boys nodded as they made way to the ORC clubhouse, leaving behind the group of girls who were gossiping. If Issei really did change, then he, Kiba, and Saji will be known as the Three Musketeers of Kuoh. While walking towards the clubhouse, Saji got a message to meet up with Sona, which he did without a second thought. During the trip, Issei decided to start a conversation with Kiba. Might as well make this less awkward than it already is. So, is there anything the occult do? Issei asked to lighten the mood. Since the occult stick out the most. Do you guys research the supernatural or something? In a way, yes, Kiba answered, still minding it odd as Issei isn't Googling over Rias. What happened to Issei that made him less perverted? Well, what do you guys mostly research on in the club? The brunette asked again. Kiba chuckled inwardly. Rias did made the occult club for two reasons. One, to be a hideout for her and her peerage, and two, to research on Japanese mythology that she enjoys. As well doing it for being an otaku. We do research on mythology as well as religion sometimes, the blonde replied, which made the human teen nod his head. They soon reached their destination of it being a Victorian-style house, to which Issei whistled, being impressed. Wow, even the building fits for the name, Issei commented. So is this your clubhouse? Kind of big to be one if you ask me. It was once part of school before it was remodeled. Originally they were going to tear it down, but the higher-ups were convinced that this should be used for our club. Kiba replied as they made it to the door. Before opening it, the blonde turned to Issei with a calculative look. May I ask what was all the gossiping I've been hearing about you? Does it had to do with yesterday's events? This made Issei to have wide eyes upon hearing this from him. You mean to tell me any of you guys, the One-sans or the student council weren't there of what I said yesterday? Issei asked in shock. This made Kiba to slowly nod his head truthfully, wondering what happened. Where the hell have you been? I mean, did you even hear the gossiping this morning? That was also true as the girls and boys were talking among themselves about Issei. Will you be explaining about it? Kiba asked again, to which Issei scratched his head. Well, can I say it when we're all in the clubhouse? I don't want to repeat myself, the brunette said. The blonde devil thought about it before agreeing with it. Even he can't stand saying the same thing over again at times. They soon entered the building, which Issei was surprised again as it really felt the building was really transported from England. The two then walked before coming to a door, which felt that it leads to the meeting room. Kiba went to the door before knocking on it. Ucho, I came. Issei Hayudu with me. There was silent pause between the members before a smooth, feminine voice replied back. Come on in, the voice said, which Issei must assume to be Rias Gremory. The blonde then opened the door, which revealed the room to be a living room with a desk near a big window. Walking inside, he saw everything to be Victorian style. From the wallpaper to rug as well the furniture. Issei was simply amazed before being surprised again. Sitting on the couch was the school mascot Kaneko Tuju, eating some ice cream. Now why was the petite white-haired girl was doing here? Then another girl came, being none other than the buxom black-haired beauty that is Akino Himejima, the second great One-san. Wow, I'm impressed, Issei commented again before he turned to Kiba. Now how come the most popular kids in school are in the same club? This made Akino to giggle as she came by with a cup of tea in hand. Well, we do have a choice to join a club, don't we? She said in a teasing tone. This made Issei to chuckle as he gladly took the tea. Thanks and touche, Issei replied as he took a sip. He was stunned on how good it is. Whoa, you made this. It's really great. This made her to giggle in delight. Why yes I did, Ian, Akino said with a smile. Though surprisingly enough, Issei narrowed his eyes dangerously at her for a second before calming down. Confused why would the pervert be angry to a gorgeous gal, she asked him. Is something the matter, Aiki-kun? No, nothing at all, Issei replied as he shook his head. There's nothing wrong with the tea or what you said. It's just that someone already calls dibs saying that to me. This again surprised all of them. Now who would Issei allow someone to call him that? May I ask who Issei-sen? Kiba asked, curious on who earned it. He remembered back on what Motohama said that could be the likely candidate. Wait a minute. Is it a student by the name of Aika? Bingo! Issei confirmed with a giant smile on his face. She is the rep of Class 2A. We're partners on a project right now since yesterday. And she is both okay and willing accepted my offer. This without a doubt stunned them. A girl willingly, not bribe, to be Issei's partner for a project? And since yesterday? How come they weren't informed of this? I feel sorry for the girl already, Kaneko finally spoke in an emotionless tone. Though Issei then muffled a laugh, which gained everyone's attention again. This made the former Nico to raise an eyebrow. Was there something I said? Actually yes, Issei replied with a smile. Ironically enough, it was the guys that came up to me and told me straight up they will attend my funeral. Even Matsuda and Motohama told me I signed my death warrant for going out with her. This made all of them to raise an eyebrow, though Kaneko narrowed hers on that statement. And why is that? She asked, taking a pause from eating her sweets. Simple. She is the man-eater of Kuoh, Issei explained bluntly with a smile, though it made them to have awkward silence and made him sigh again. She eats up, chews and spits out any boy crazy enough to be in her sight. She also embarrassed them by telling them how much of a man they are. To put it simple, imagine if Motohama, my friend, has a sister with his ability to instantly measure the human body in nanoseconds. But instead on girls, it's boys that are the target. Again, the devils were wondering how much did they miss this and how much is Aika's reputation wasn't heard like Issei is saying. Era, Issei-kun, are you making this up? Akino questioned with a smile. I just don't see it's possible for a girl to be like your glasses friend. Believe it whatever you want, point is everyone in school knows about what happened. Might even ask Katase and Murayama since they were talking about, Issei replied with a shrug. If you thought that's unbelievable, try the fact that her clan, the Kiryus, are mainly a clan of female demonics, and she even confirms. At this point, they were starting to wonder if reality is more stranger than fiction itself. Oh my, Rias's voice finally showed up. I didn't realize a student's family can have such secret. Issei smiled at that, though for some odd reason was hearing water dripping, like a shower is on. Hey Gremu, mind asking me where you at? The teen brunette asked, starting to wonder where she's at. Omi? I'm showering in the room, Isin, the Great One-san replied back. Wait a minute, Issei said, wanting to know on what she meant. What do you mean in the room, Gramerson? He heard a giggle coming from Akino as she smiled at him again. She literally is in the room, and showering shamelessly might I add, the black beauty finished with a teasing smirk. Issei looked at her confused before Kiba chuckle. Kaneko sigh as she pointed in front of him. Sure enough there is a bathtub like the old ones with curtains covering Ria's naked body as she is washing her body. Issei's eyes were twitching like crazily on what was in front of him. How was this even possible? Better yet, how the hell did he miss this? It is right in front of him, damn it. The human teen that got up from the couch before crouching to see there are no pipes connected to the tube whatsoever. This further makes him question what is going on. He then seated back down on the couch with a blank look, leaving a moment of silence on what he saw. What in the actual F-? Issei finally found his voice, surprising the devils. Forget Rias being naked in the tub in front of him? How the hell is that even working is what got him? He turned to Kiba, seeing being the only boy to relate to this. Better yet, how the flying F is this even possible? There no pipe attached to the tub for F's sakes. The devils got nothing to say as Issei held a stupefied look on his face with his mouth gaping to a degree. Kaneko swore she must stop hanging out with those otakus that watched weird videos. He kept this face the whole time, ignoring the fact the bell rang and Rias was drying herself, naked in front of him before getting on clothes. Now they began to worry for him as he still kept this derp face, as Kaneko described it, before coming up with a solution. Oh Issei, Rias said seductively at him, swaying her hips. I got a little surprise for you. Ironically enough that despite being a former pervert, he still didn't move at all. Not even a twitch. Akino then got her turn for it. Now, Isin, how about I show you a real woman can be, Akino said with Stuckton and a naughty look on her eyes. Finally Issei began shaking his head like crazy before giving Akino the stink. This again made them realize he wasn't joking about Aika. Though what made this girl to be the center of his universe? Eventually the brunette calmed down, palming his head for a scratch. You just knows way to make me angry, Akino. You know that? Issei asked to her. It was awkward at first before everyone started to return to normal. Kaneko was looking at Issei with a critical look on her face as she ate. Akino was serving everybody with tea. Rias was looking at him with smile, though a few predator face here and there. Kiba and him were talking about something. Having enough of the silence, Rias cleared her throat, gaining everyone's attention. Well, I'm sorry we started off the wrong foot, but can we please try to make more welcoming? The red-headed girl asked to him. Issei agreed since first impressions are important. This made her to smile as she stood up and bowed to him, startling the brunette. Well then, my name is Rias Gremory, busho of Occult Research Club. Then Akino came up, introducing herself with manners. Akino Himejima, vice busho of our little club. She ended with a giggle. Kaneko Taju, the white-haired lowly said blankly, making him to sweat dropped. Kiba Yuto, at your service, the Prince of Kuoh greeted with a bow to him. This made Issei to chuckle nervously since he knew it was his turn. Standing up, the brunette took a deep breath before exhaling it. Well, my name is Issei Haidu, leader of the shameless perverted trio. Now trying to be again the daredevil of Kuoh. The brunette exclaimed from embarrassment to pride, which made them all sweat dropped. Pervert, Kaneko said to him, which made him to face fault and earning a chuckle from the rest. Issei got up while muttering he did change. Well, Issei, that was interesting, Rias commented with a giggle. I want to get to business. This is where she adopted a serious face, which made him to tense. May I ask what happened yesterday? Like Kiba and everyone in the room here, I'm also curious what made you the gossip of today. Issei scratched his head again with all the stares he's getting before sighing. The brunette then explained of the events that occur the week, starting from Monday. How he before passed out before seeing Aika, waking up in Nurse Ren's office and getting to know about the glasses-wearing girl. Then the fact that he shoved Kiba to chase after her, only to fail and doing it again on Wednesday 4 times. He went on Thursday where things got serious as he became Aika's partner for their class of it. He then talked to her on lunch, where he later learned the whole school was spying on them. Man, talk about being spied on. Now he knows what the girls feel when he and his friends peek on them. Interesting, I must confirm this with a couple of students, Rias commented as she was in deep thought. Who knew that Issei will cause this much of a huge firestorm of gossiping? Though what gained her attention the most was his parkour history. Maybe that can be useful. Era, our little Kohai is growing up. Akino happily complimented Issei, who smiled in pride. I must admit it's good to see you change for the better, Kiba said to him, which made him fill with ego. But you did cause a lot commotion and damages on both Tuesday and Wednesday, Kaneko blankly replied. This made Issei's ego to be diminished as he face-faulted again. Everyone but the former Nico laughed as he got up, grumbling again. Now it was time for the big thing to come. The atmosphere got serious as Rias looked at him with a calculative look. Issei, Rias said seriously, which got his attention. There is a reason why I called you up. Now the brunette was ready for. Tell me, do you remember of a girl named Yuma Amano? This made Issei to have wide eyes. Whoa, how the hell did you know that? The brunette said, shaking his hands as took a while to take this in. No one, not even my friends, beside Nurse Ren and for some odd reason Asia, knows about my ex who left me. This made Rias to sigh, which made everyone tense in the room. Well, Issei, I do have to know all of the students now, can I? The redhead said with a smile. This still made the brunette to be suspicious on the subject. So she tried to lighten the subject a bit. Though what do you mean on X? Did something happen between the two of you? The brunette then began to shy away, with a blush appearing on his cheeks. Oh well about that, Issei said nervously looking away. This made them too curious why he was acting this way. Well, what exactly, Issei-kun? Rias asked to him. The other gave their concerns too, or at least tried in Kaneko's case. Well, you see, the brunette said, scratching his head while looking away from them. He kind of threw up on her on our date. Issei then took a deep breath before exhaling it out. She then turned around and basically dumped me for that accident. There was a moment of silence after he said that. The devils had to confirm this very well on what they heard. A fallen angel disguised as a human didn't kill Issei Haidu because he threw up on her? And instead of killing him, she left him in a rejection matter? They then burst out laughing, or a smile in the former Nico's case, on the ridiculousness. Issei sighed, probably getting used to it by now or embarrassed still, probably the latter. It took about a minute or two to calm down as they got serious. But did you notice anything strange after Yuma rejected you? Rias asked, only for Issei to slump down. Looks like this friendzone effect has taken a toll on him. Keep in mind that Rias Gremory came to Japan to study its culture and anime. Even she doesn't know if devils are affected by this so-called friendzone. Well, it was weird since my parents and friends don't recall my ex, Yumma Amano, Issei explained to them, recovering from earlier. Heck, all forms of memory I have for her just disappeared to them, along with her number and pictures. She means beside those obvious ones, Kaneko reminded on what Bucho said. This made Issei to think again before snapping his fingers. Now that you mention it, she did grow a pair of wings before leaving me, the human recounted, still wondering if on what he saw was real. Well, Rias breathed in before looking at him with a blank look. Issei could have sworn it was Morpheus for a second. What if I told what you saw was real? This made him to have wide eyes with silence engulfing the room. Duh. What? Was all the brunette shouted, trying to wrap his head around this. Are you bloody? Sari dash. When he finally put two and two together. Wait, you're saying me she was real and dumped my but 2 weeks ago? And how the hell she erased everything in the span of a night? Rias sighed as she's now on icy waters now. The redhead needs to be careful on what to say next. Issei, I want you to calm down for a second, the redhead ordered him to do. The brunette raised an eyebrow before doing that, not wanting to make an everlasting impression. What I'm about to tell will be unbelievably true, but it really happened. And what will that be, Gremory-san? Issei asked, arms crossed with suspicious. Since I have done things crazier than peeking at girls in the locker. Is that she was a fallen angel set out to kill you, Rias answered to him with complete seriousness. The room's temperature dropped from that statement as Issei had a stunned look on his face with wide eyes and a dry fish expression. Wait a second, the brunette said as he looked serious at them. What do you mean by this fallen angel thing? Are you telling me things like kitsune, nikos and onis, basically the supernatural in general is real? He asked, mainly identifying the things he knows the best since they're native in Japan. Though he could have sworn that the usual Kaderi Kaneko flinch when he mentioned Nico. In a way, yes, Rias answered bluntly. This made him to be stunned again, but it wasn't over. And yes, it's true since we're devils ourselves as well. Rias ended as a pair of giant bat wings grew out of her back. Once again, Issei had his dry goldfish expression again. Heh, was all what Issei said. This was just too much to take in right now. He just got the new love of his life as his partner, yet he is being exposed to the supernatural right now? Come on, give me a break. Though he already knew this, sort of if you can even count it, since 2 weeks ago. Then again Asia's magic healing things, Twilight something right? Does that also count as well? Aika, is something wrong? Keites asked, confused and a bit scared for female Kiryu. The glasses-wearing girl turned to the nearest window before smiling. Yes, I believe my partner is taking his test now, the glasses brunette stated with a grin. This made both her and Murayama to cringe, along with the rest of class. When she wants to be, Aika can be very creepy and scary. How are they, her friends, are with her without knowing her little secret is beyond them. For once, everyone in the school pity Issei Hayadu for the position he is in. And that's saying a lot. Though before he can say anything, the door opened, revealing the student president Sona Shirtrai. Why was she here? Issei doesn't have the answer, but it will be answered. Sona Kaicho? What are you doing here? Issei asked, surprised of this. Rias, I need to have a Haidu. Sona said as she looked surprised, no expectorating the human to be in the clubhouse. She knew she shouldn't have dismissed Saji when he said the human was going to the club. She thought he was kidding. Her eyes then widened as Rias had her wings out. Rias, what is the meaning of this? Explain to me on what are you thinking this instant. Now, Sona, I have a very good reason why I'm doing this, the Gremory heiress tried to explain. Though Sona was unamused as she held her arms across her chest. Issei was going to say something when the rest of the student council came in, confused on what the racket was. Kaicho, what's going on in here? Tsubaki asked as she came in first. She then had wide eyes, seeing Rias' wings out and Issei being here. Oh no! With all this drama, they were all chatting as the redhead devil was being nervous. Why Sona had to come in the worst of times is beyond her. Though for Issei, this is just a huge headache with one solution. Pow! Everyone winced at the sound as they turned to see, surprisingly enough, Issei punching himself in the face. He was now massaging his cheek as looked calm while doing so. Sorry, but I just had to, Issei said before shaking the pain off. He then looked at Sona with a drunk stupor-like state. Though can we please cut to the chit-chat and leave? Please? I don't want to get involved in this charade any longer. If only he knew on what he said, but was still stunned from being exposed, so who can blame him? Ha! Issei covered his ears from the shout as the devils held a shock expression. Was it something I said? The human rhetorically asked, knowing the answer. Issei, what is your thoughts on this whole ordeal? Sona asked, though stuttered on the beginning. Like what? This is like those guys who take things serious like Magic the Gathering, right? The brunette asked. This made the rest to be in disbelief. Is he even serious? Sona was hoping this can work on their favor, but sadly it didn't. But this is all real. Momo corrected as soon everyone did the same thing like Rias, minus Sona and Tsubaki for obvious reasons. Why you're serious? Issei asked again, maybe a little more convinced that this is still real and not some extremist fan saying it. Well, it's true we all are devils, newbie, Suji said as he walked to him. Issei began to stiff when he saw him checking his body out. So, you must be the new devil for Rias, huh? The hot blonde said more than ask, which made Issei to be stunned before feel insulted. What? The brunette asked, his eyes twitching. How dare this fool mistake him of being a devil? So, Suji said as he wore a cocky smile. How many evil pieces you took in? The brunette was going to answer before being cut off. I took in 6 pawns to be in Sona's peerage. Good luck beating that newbie. Oh, that just PSS him off. I ain't a devil, Saj. Issei growled back, stunning Sona's peerage while confirming the king's fears. And like I care if there's anything good about it. What do you mean? Tsubaki asked, still unsure of what's Hayadu's thoughts. Listen, I don't care if this is good or bad, but what's the benefits? Issei asked, crossing his arms. Now everyone had wide eyes. And what's this about unlocking this sacred gear that I have? What if I never had one to begin with? Now this made Rias nervous again. She better hope this isn't true, but it could be a gamble. There have been some instances where a devil trying to get a human that may potentially hold a sacred gear but never had one to begin with is a huge letdown. Well, sacred gears are magical devices, created by God to be the ultimate weapon, Rias explained, with the brunette having his arms crossed. So, in a way, I have a power that can harm you. Devils, Yumma's fallen angels and the church's angels as well. Issei reduced that fact, surprising those around him. He's more smart than he appears. Thera, very smart, Kohai, Akino giggled. Yes, they usually reside in special humans that have the potential to wield them above the average human. So, is that the whole point of meeting me? To just get me to activate the same things Asia possibly have? Issei asked, though held narrow eyes when mentioning Asia. They did notice that and silently agreed to not ask more about it. Well, yes, and that too, Kiba answered, though awkwardly since even Kaneko expected a pervert, not a smartass. At this point, the devils retracted their wings. It's easier to help you to summon it than doing it on your own. Here, just imagine the one thing that represents on what you like, Rias explained to him. The brunette thought about it and was going to go with the Kamehameha from Dragon Ball, but decided against at last second. Since she said anything, he got a better idea in mind. I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick butt, Issei said with a smirk, stunning his audience. He then held his arms out like he was holding a gun, A shotgun to be specific, and like those badasses that shoot giant guns from one hand like Rambo. And I'm all out of bubble gum. Issei ended as he pulled the imaginary trigger. He expected that nothing happened but to summon this sacred gear he has. Apparently it's the same things that Asia has, in a way. He just thought it would appear in his hands or something, since she said to use something he enjoys to summon it quicker. Oh, how dead wrong he was. Fin. The room was brightened as a red ball was shot from his hand, with a red glow covering his left hand as he flew from the recoil. Wah! Issei screamed as he hit the couch as it stumbled backwards and fell on its frame. Dragon shot. Everybody, take cover, now. Sona shouted as everyone hit the deck. She obviously did research and knew this as a dragon's technique. The groups of devil took cover as the red projectile went crazy. Immediately, Issei raised his right arm up in the air, finger irked. I'm alright. The couch broke my fall. There was an explosion to a lamp as the human pointed accusingly towards the redhead. Rias did it. Hey, the Gremory heiress for being at fault. The shot keep on bouncing, which mainly made both peerage to stay under. Sona's bishops couldn't do nothing since they will risk getting hurt from this magic move. Saji couldn't do anything about since it's constantly zigzagging a lot. Will anyone do something about it? Saji asked in fear. Maybe I can, Tsubaki stated as she summoned a mirror barrier to counter it. Mirror Alice. And it worked, sorta. The dragon shot hit the mirror barrier before being redirected to the door, exploding it. Now happy that it's all over, everyone got up from the floor and let out a sigh in relief. Well, that could have gone better, Rias commented. Gee, you think? Issei rhetorically asked as he got up, probably PSS since he flown off his feet. Hey, no one said I was going to shot something out of my hand. Suddenly, that's when he felt his left hand being heavy than usual. Huh, what the hell? Indeed. Now everyone go to see Issei's sacred gear. It was a red gauntlet with some yellow spikes around the wrist and a big green jewel on the center. Is this? The brunette asked, amazed. He has an awesome-looking gauntlet of a sacred gear. Though why would Yumma wanted me dead if I didn't awaken it? Boosted gear. Rias shouted, now giggling like a kid winning a prize. Issei looked at her like she was crazy, to which she calmed down in a way. You see, Yumma killed you since your sacred gear posed a threat to their species more. I didn't ask for it, the human simply replied. Good luck with that, newbie, Saji said to him with a sheepish grin. Fallen angels can't be reasoned with. Since, well, you know, fell from heaven in grace. And your sacred gear is also allogenous, Sona exclaimed calmly, though shocking and amazing everyone. Except Issei as he narrowed his eyes and asked, Loginous? Didn't history said it was the name of the spear that killed Christ? Good eyes and ears, hide it. I never would that expect from you, Tsubaki commented. Yes, sacred gears are divided mainly by two groups, normal and loginous. Normal ones can be used by anyone and many can use the same one, though there have been some exceptions. Loginous, on the other hand, don't have multiple ones as they are unique and usually one in existence, and the fact they are more dangerous. Rumor has it can kill gods and goddesses. This left all in the room to be speechless. Well, mostly all of them as the human snorted. Dangerous and god killers? What was he even smoking when he made these loginous? Issei commented, ignoring the shock looks he gained as he casually said it. I mean, why make another dangerous weapon, one that can kill gods like himself, when we have enough to kill ourselves to begin with? Well, whatever his reason, all we know is that humans and half-humans are allowed to use them, Aquino said with a smile. Which brings me to the other reason why you're here, Rias exclaimed with a smile, revealing chess pieces, though most being the color red. Chess? The human brunette questioned. In a way, Issei-kun, the redhead replied. These are the evil pieces. After the Great War, the three factions were completely devastated from it. Devils can take forever to reproduce, but we knew we don't have the patience to wait. Luckily, Ajuka Beelzebub found a way to help us to repopulate with the evil pieces system and peerages. Each of the chess pieces have a major benefactor into becoming a devil, Hayate-san, Sona continued for her childhood. A knight has increase of speed, but lacks the strength, A rook is vice versa. A bishop has an increase of magic capabilities. A queen as an increase to all those levels. A king's usual is the leader of a peerage. What about pawns? Like chess, if they enter the enemy side, they can upgrade themselves, right? Issei asked again, now seeing how similar it is to the real deal. Bingo, right on the spot, newbie, Saji replied to him with a smile. He then pointed to himself with his thumb and another girl with red hair. I'm a pawn myself, along with Ruruko here. We, ourselves, are knights, Kiba said to himself with Tomo Meguri, who's like a twin of the Nimura chick. We're bishops, but only to Sona Kaicho, Momo said to herself and Rhea. Issei felt confused but quickly understood why. And we're the rooks. Tsubasa shouted with pride, though Kaneko sighed in annoyance. Well, we might say that we're the queens to our respectful kings, Tsubaki stated with Akino giggling. Which finally ends with us, Sona said with Rias laughing a bit. This made Issei stunned on what he saw who they were. Didn't see that coming, he thought, mainly awkwardly before mentally sighing. I expected it to be another couple of boys to be the kings. Not the Kaicho and Rias to be them. Sigh, then again, not everything is to be sexist regardless of the roles. Clearing his throat, Issei calmed himself. Being honest here, I'm surprised on all of this, but why are you asking me, of all people? Simple, Rias said to him with a smirk and pointed a finger at him. I want you to join my peerage. There was a strong silence in the room. This was something that Sona groaned at while Issei was stunned at the announcement, along with the rest of the student council. Is she even serious about this? Seriously? Rias, are you still desperate to get out of that stupid marriage from Risers? The Citri heiress mentally growled at her fellow heiress. I know this is good and all, Gremrison, but again why? The human question since it made no sense in a way for him. Issei, you were almost killed by a fallen angel, and as the devil in charge of this area, along with Sona, to protect everyone living here. She exclaimed with pride. Besides, you will need proper training, and if you become a devil, there are lots of benefits along with it. Like what kind, Gremri-san? Issei said, still getting used to the sacred gear. And speaking of protection, just how did you know I was going to get killed, even if I was luck out that Yumma left the area? This again amazed everyone as he's still debating to be one. Well, there are lots of advantages into being a devil, like living very long, can heal from most attacks as well immune to most diseases, and if you become a peerage leader, you can have your own. One fill with women if you want, Rias said, giving lots of good reasons, with the last one hitting Issei's brain the most. He was considering it of simply doing it when. Hold it right there, buddy. Turning around, Issei was surprised to see his kid self again with the room entering a blue-like frozen place again. Here there, little guy, Issei greeted, stunned he came back. Where were you? You kinda went silent after Aika said I can be her boyfriend. Don't remind me. I had to do some stuff in your mind, thank you very much, Kitsu replied with a pout and sarcasm at the end, which made the present one to sweat dropped. So, are you going to help me with this? Issei awkwardly asked. Since they can dash. No, Kitty interjected, stunning him. I know you want to retort, but think about this. Why didn't she stop Yumma from almost killing you earlier when she had the chance? How she knew about it and what happened to the fallen angels that were with Yumma? She must have an ulterior motive to all of this, you know. Sheet. You're right, Issei thought back at him as he began to think again before he questioned the redhead devil. While it's good and tempting, Rias, you still avoided my question onto how you knew of Yumma almost killing me. And where are the fallen angels at anyway? The statement made the devils to have their eyes widen at the thought. Oh, my bad, Rias said, sheepishly for leaving it out by accident before grabbing something from her beery pocket. Well, I used this paper to get to your position quickly without rousing suspicion from Yumma, or else she would have killed you faster. She finished as she took out a paper with a unique pentagram drawing as Issei grabbed it. I had my familiar to give it to you. Familiars? Issei asked, now confused. Looks like he will need to pull an all-nighter to get as much of the basic to understand this supernatural subject well. Yes, we devils can have familiars from the familiar forest, Sona answered to him. She must have did it to avoid raising any possible conflict within the fallen angels in the area. But couldn't you, I don't know, scare off the fallen angels since this is considered trespassing against private territory? Issei asked again, still finding this somewhat unbelievable and surprising them yet again. Not saying it's bad, but I'm smelling bullshit in that. And on the details of that, where they're at anyway? That would have made things worse, but I understand where you going with it, Rias replied to him, though had to give him credit on that. As for your other question, they were stationed here 2 weeks ago on the abandoned church on the hill. Though after Yumma came back from your date and, accident. Rias tried to sound pity, but Issei only hung his head down, leaving the student council to be confused on what happened. Anyway, it was probably around Wednesday that they left without a trace. It wasn't until the Friday of that same week we also got word they left this city alone. Wait, you're saying they left that old church on the hill? Since the last 2 weeks? The human scratched his head, secretly sighing in relief. Thank God they left. Otherwise I wouldn't know what wouldn't have my future baby sister. Now, with those out of the way, will you reconsider being part of my peerage, Issei-kun? Rias asked again with reassurance. Issei was in a tight spot again, though still skeptical on this. Should he do this or not? It does feel like a trap. Exactly. The human had wide eyes when he heard the voice. Time slowed down completely as he was in his mind again, though different. While it was all blue with Kitty, why was it all purple? Who is this? Is this you, Mini-Me? Issei asked, wondering who is it. If so, this ain't funny, man. Well, no, I'm not your innocence, the voice replied, now calm, but it did scared him. But I understand you're currently wondering who the F I am? Well, to answer that, there was a moment of silence, making Issei a bit anxious. I'm your conscious. My conscious? The human asked, now lost. But I thought dash. We'll ignore that for later. Right now I'm telling you about these devils and not to trust them, especially the redhead beach, the voice interrupted, which made the human to feel insulted. Hold it. We're not done yet. And leave Rias out of dash. Think this through, ya idiot. Issei shut up as he gulped, now giving his undivided attention to his conscious. Alright, so let me get this out of the way, shall we? Mentally nodding to that, the voice chuckled before becoming serious. This chick knew you were going to die. She knew you had this sacred gear and didn't bother approaching you. For all we know, they can be lying that they can confront the crows and sacred them shitless but didn't. So why the F did she do nothing? Huh. This made Issei to think hard again and had to agree. Why did these guys, the devils, to say they will protect their territory if they would even a small strike force inside? Not the best thing to do. As for confronting part, he did paid attention on Theodore Roosevelt's foreign policy in world history last year. Walk softly and carry a big stick. Wouldn't that work? Yeah, it had its downs, but it's still worth a shot. However, there is no excuse for the first 2 aforementioned questions. Why didn't they do anything to prevent this, and why was Rias gleaming with joy on his sacred gear? Your point. Glad we're on the same page. Look, the point is obvious. These devils have ulterior motives even right now. And those evil pieces are no laughing matter either. I believe they were going to let you die with Yumma, this fallen angel, and use that to their advantage. So they were going to let me die and Rias was going to reincarnate me against my will. Issei concluded to his conscious with anger. That beach. She was going to that. And taking advantage of me while I was still a pervert. Oh, I'm so gone dash. Not now, child. Issei stopped as his eyes began to twitch like crazy, causing his conscious to laugh heartily. Of all things, it had to be that DMN phrase. Oh man, a classic. Anyway, we're not going to snap at them now. We're going to use it for later, and here's why. If she's close to this Ajuka devil, then that means he will not be pleased on what she's doing. Abusing such power should be treason. We can use this to our advantages for him or her parents, whichever one comes first. You're right on that. If we can save it for later, then it will backfire on them big time, Issei said to him with an evil smirk, already liking the plan. No one messes with Issei Hayadu and gets away with it. And why do you want to join them? These girls can be bisexuals demtrixes for all we know, the voice said, though frown as the boy blushed. Are you shitting me? Keep in mind, these girls, that Sona girl and Gremory Beach have more girls than guys. That should raise suspicious, if you ask me, to lure in potential strong men, like that Kiba fellow or Saji idiot. And besides, Issei could have sworn his conscience is smirking at him. Would you really dump Aika for him? This made the brunette too tensed as his hair covered his eyes. Would he really leave Aika for them? Well, it's Tempno. There's no way he would dare think such thought. Would he? What? I would never dash. Oh, don't lie to me. I'm you after all, his conscience countered with a smirk and the truth. Are you that serious to leave that girl, who has more things in common with you, than these devils who will throw you away when you're no longer good? I believe so. I dash. Or are you that desperate? Please, we can have a great life with Aika Kiryu, the most hottest and perverted girl we'll ever know. Not with these devils who will make us their slaves to do their mundane tasks. We can SEC slaves and they can give zero FS about us. Yeah, they may have killer bodies, but think this very carefully and through capish? After leaving, Issei now made up his mind. His conscience has spoken and he will agree with it. There is no way he's breaking his promise with Aika. Coming back from his mind, his face was now covered by his hair, still raging with fists tightened. Oh, I get it now, Issei said before looking at them menacingly. They were tense if he tried to do something bad. He pointed his finger, accusingly towards Rias. You're just trying to do this in order to make me your boyfriend. This made everyone to be stunned. Did he just said what they just heard right? What? Issei, Rias tried to explain but was interrupted by the human. Shut it. I don't care about your deal. The brunette growled at them. I may be a brainless, FING pervert, but even I have a brain. And I ain't fell on its frame for that trick. He then held his hips with his hands and smirk. Besides, I'm taken, remember? Aika is the only girl for me. Not you, Rias Gremory. I say this meeting is adjourned. I'm out of this club. With that, Issei rushed towards the window. He then made a dive kick, breaking the window in the process, surprising the devils. He managed to stick the landing as he continues running his way to 6th PRD as the bell rang. Though no matter what, they're still stunned when Issei accused Rias to make him her boyfriend, before going on that Aika is his. This just raised more questions for the student council. Okay, just what the hell just happened? Sona asked, all confused as everybody else. I have no idea, Sona, I have no idea, Rias replied, still frozen. It was only a couple of seconds before a person came into the room, causing everyone to gasp again. In front of them was a student with short light blonde hair in a bob-style haircut with bright pink-purple eyes. The clothing the student is wearing is a female Kuoh uniform, though charred, like it was burned. R. Rias Esama, what happened? Asked, completely scared. All while Tsubaki was whistling innocently and muttering, not my fault. It was an accident, under her breath. Gasper, hi there, sweetie. I can explain, Rias nervously replied back to her bishop, trying to comfort her. This is going to be a long day than expected. Issei was hoping that, upon returning, things would be back to normal when he returned back to class. It didn't. Mainly for the fact that Matsuda and Motohama were yelling, while kicking and screaming, of what happened. Some girls gossiping that saw it also put in their money and confirming that Rias wanted to see him and his friends beating him up for it. So now the whole school heard that he was invited to her clubhouse. And he made it worse by some speculating that he was offered to join the club but decline it, making him the gossip of the school yet again. This time making him public enemy again of being a pervert. It was now after school as he still hates the glares he's getting. God, what did I do to deserve this? Issei asked as he looked up in the sky, from a window while scratching his head. One of these days I'm so gonna get back at you, Bakas. I don't know, Issei. The brunette turned to see his partner, in his eyes, beautiful and attractive. Aika Kiryu. For their first PRD class, chemistry, they need to find a way to explain it a bit better and clearer for newcomers that must includes all the basics. Which is why they were at the library to use the computer, which was hard at first but they got in by the end. But I must admit, even I'm surprised you turned down Ria's offer. Hey, it's not my fault, it's a waste of time for me, Issei replied back to her. I just not into the mumbo-jumbo they're into. I'm still surprised you turn it down, Aika said to him. You are known as the embodiment of lust. Everyone is saying is the end of the world when you turned it down. But shouldn't they be happy that she's still single and anyone can join their club if they allow it? He asked her with a sweat dropped. They wince when upon hearing lots of crashes. Turning around, they saw a huge dust as students left the library, probably hearing on what he said, with the librarian shouting them to clean up the mess and threatening to call their parents. I will never understand them sometimes, the female brunette commented, to which the male gnawed too. You're telling me? They began to work in complete silence now on their project without a lot of interruptions. Though Issei turned to look at Aika. Is there something wrong, Aika-chan? Just curious, Ayasikin, she said with a shrug. But what does the ORC do anyway, no big deal. And how come it's only to the popular kids? I expect it from nerds but not from them, so what gives? Well, Issei said, trying to think of a reason that doesn't expose their secret. He may not like them but know they deserve a chance. I think it's something they want to do. You be surprised on the things people are into, even if it doesn't fit their profession. Like your friend, Motohama, and his lowly FSH? Aika suggested with a smirk. Yeah, something like that, Issei replied as he facepalmed. I got nothing against it, but I'm not interested into those things. Researching the supernatural is alright, but I think it's just a lazy excuse of something. Most of the time is probably to get away due to being popular. Yeah, that's true, the representative shrugged. I can see that happening. Being popular does have its faults. I'm amazed they're not the snobby, spoiled types. Yeah, that does seem fair enough, the parkourist agreed with her. They began to get back to work on the project for another 10 minutes. While working, Issei was still feeling nervous all around him due to being near Aika. It was also by this time she decided to break the ice. So, did you had any childhood friends that are here? The female brunette asked to him. The boy was stunned before looking down. Well, beside Motohama and Matsuda, not that much. The only ones I remember right off the top of my head is Irina and Jorge, Issei answered to her. Irina and Jorge? Aika repeated, surprised. Wow, and English and possibly Spanish friends. I'm impressed, Dalun. Yeah, it is, Issei replied back with a smile. First it was Irina. He was visiting from England. We had a great time for a while. Sadly, his parents told him it was time to go back. So we promised that we will meet again. The brunette smiled, remembering all the fun time. Then Jorge came along, visiting because his mom's boss was here for some time. We were also had a great time together, including annoying his older siblings. Heck, I think I learned a lot of Spanish from them, too. Really, I never knew you can know Spanish, Aika joked light, joke on this. Of course, I'm not stupid, Issei-kun. It's 2013 and we, along with most of Europe, are making kids speak more than one language since elementary. This then made Issei to laugh of a memory from long ago, making the girl curious. Oh, that reminds me a lot now, huh, the brunette said. You see, his parents were separated but his mom enjoyed the Cuban-American male model, William Levy. I remember Jorge, me and his brother making lots of jokes about him. And I do think it may fit for me denying Rias for spending time with you. And what would that be, Yaikun? Aika asked with a smirk and curious. The brunette smiled as he got up and began to tap her nose playfully. Two nodens nada que envidiar a Rias Gremory, Issei spoke to her in Spanish again, though it is rusty after many years of not practicing. Rias Gremory que envidiar a ti. He finished with a smile as Aika laughed, already liking it. Looks like it's not all bad, right? You do realize it wasn't necessary, you know that, right? Kitty asked to the conscious, who shrugged. I mean, for all we know, they are actually nice people. If devils can be like that. I don't see the problem with it. I just helped him to see though the choice better as well telling the truth, it replied back to him, who narrowed his eyes at it. Besides, I don't see you helping more than I did. Are sure there wasn't more? Issei asked again. I'm all for it if we don't become their enemies. You seen how they look at us like we're food, boy, the conscious replied to him in a harsher tone. I did to make sure we don't become bats like them. Then would have you killed if they at least trained us, the innocent self yelled at him. We don't even know how to use boosted gear or whatever the hell the thing does anyway. He shrugged. Oh come on. We had no manuals to play our games, yet we got do's and don'ts. Well, figure it out on our own. Speaking of which, does lashing out at them have to do about dash? Zip it, brat. The voice sternly replied. The kids still stared at it, probably getting the answer before leaving. I'm just happy that we didn't accepted the offer. After all, Aika is the center of our universe. If one thing Issei wondered how the weekend went, it was great. He went with Aika to wrap up their project, took Asia out on a tour of Kuoh, and went out for lunch with them. Yes, them since Asia, in the words of the gamer's conscious puts it, cock-blocked him. While it did suck he had to babysit his adopted sister, it was nice because it made him start to see there's more to life than a pay. Plus he was lucky that once the project and the day was over, Issei finally got the nerve to ask out Aika to hang out tomorrow, to which she said yes due to the unforeseen circumstance. Then came Sunday and he found it good yet annoying. Mainly since Rias Gremory is persistence to get him her SLV, like what Kiba and Saji are in. The male brunette does agree with his conscious and past self that the Great One-san is a stalker. Though later on the evening, the two male and female perverts went out to some social areas, those that are oblivious to his status as the horn dog Kuoh. It was nice to be normal among the crowd. Then came the night and oh boy, Issei and Aika, in their respectful homes, had the most exciting yet awkward moment ever in their own beds. So they basically masturbated, though it was harder for the devils at the moment. Rias and Sona were worried that Issei may spill their secret out due to the Gremory's impatience of having the boy in her peerage. So they sent some of their servants to follow them. Saji and Momo reported back early due to the former getting hit by Asia's yo-yo by accident, confirmed by Kaneko that even Issei was a victim. Then the former Nico said that when she, Kiba and Akino spied on them on a restaurant, the former nun glared angrily at a baby. It was weird since nuns and maidens are nice all the time to be people, babies included. So why would she stare with anger at a baby like it was their doing? Though the devil's sweat dropped when mentioned that Asia fell on her food when the infant laughed at her. That was kind of funny now that they thought about it. Though on a stranger note, Issei sniffed on Aika's utensils when she and Asia went to the restroom, according to Kaneko. Now that raised some eyebrows, even for somebody like Akino. Just what the hell? No pun intended. Just seriously what the hell? It was so weird that even Kaneko had nothing to say about it. And she'd been dealing with weirdos due to her figure since she began her contracts. It didn't help either as Rias tried to talk to him the next day. Issei still says no, and Sona gave a hidden smirk when he was honest that he has no clue how to train a sacred gear. Serves Rias right to rush in with greed. Though apparently that didn't stop, they spied on them as they saw the human brunette going out with the female class representative on a night out. Especially for Rias as she went there in person, though with a disguise. Albeit, a poor excuse of a one. Sometimes Sona wonder what is going through her mind. It soon got more confusing for them on Sunday night. Mainly since both kings and their peerages were surprised as they went over Issei's records from primary school all the way to the beginning of junior high, especially when he was young. It appears that Hayudu got in a lot of trouble back then. Most of them were either sleeping in class, arriving late to school, back talking at his teachers, or performing dangerous stunts in public. That last one got their attention since it made no sense. The students in Kuoh speak as though Issei was a pervert since he was young, yet here the evidence in front of them says he didn't become a pervert till junior high, the appropriate age of teens becoming affected by PBRTY. So what gives? What made Issei be a pervert while simultaneously being the daredevil he mentioned to be? So the devils made some theories on to how this may be true. So, does anyone have thoughts on this? Sona asked her peerage and Rias's at the information at hand. Raising his hand, Saji spoke up. I think this have to do with the government. That made everyone to looked at him with funny faces. Saji, now why would the government have something to do with this? Tsubasa asked, just finding that funny. Oh, come on now. How do you think a school board can black ink all of that without help or not informing them? The only boy in the student council countered. That does raise some questions, and I do know that certain schools around the world have the ability of sanitization, Tsubaki added. She doesn't believe he's right, but Saji may not be that far off. But how? Akino questioned. As Japan rarely do such thing. This made Sumta nodded to her defense. True, and even then, the school staff itself wouldn't be omitted from seeing such personal information, Tomo said. This isn't adding up one bit, Kiba said, since this was becoming more and more confusing. But the question remains, how does this apply to Issei himself? So this continue on more and more before Rhea thought of the impossible. Guys, what if Issei wasn't a pervert to begin with? That made everyone to freeze and turn to each other. That can't be true, right? I don't think so, Rhea said, as that was rather surreal. I mean, why would he lie to us and the student body? True, Momo said, as she also wanted to deny, rather seeing on what they seen by their own experience. Especially since how would Matsuda and Motohama react of such thing? They practically brothers in all but blood. That would devastate them to see their older brother lying to them this entire time. Soon the silence came in, albeit awkward. Now there is doubt in this. Reality can be stranger than fictions at times, Ruruka muttered before looking at them. We might need to look in this more closer, right? Absolutely, Kaneko replied for the first time since looking in this. Maybe Issei was a pervert the entire and these may be fakes, or something happened that made this way before being exposed by Matsuda and Motohama. So it was an interesting night for the devils that they stayed up of theories revolving Issei Hayudu. Even Kaneko just couldn't get around the idea that maybe, just maybe, Issei was no pervert. Something will shock her if it was true. Time skip to Thursday. So some good news came out of this. Issei and Aika aced their project and started to get to know one another. This included taking her home to introduce her to his parents and adopted sister. Issei wasn't kidding now, having an adopted Italian sister. And that was on Monday. Tuesday the two enjoyed each other's company as they went to the roof to talk, or going out in the boardwalks that surround the school. Still, it gave the kids some heart attack that this is real. Yet that didn't stop the boys to salute Issei, some even proclaiming him to be a god among men. While that was happening, Issei was secretly trying to approach this boosted gear problem. It was an entirely new thing for him right now, and wants to know what else is there. Call him curious, but even someone can agree that this may be a problem in the future. So Issei hopefully contacted his conscious and kid self to check if anything is in the sacred gear. Speaking of which, it was infuriating for him on Wednesday due to the occult and student council. So he forgot to promise them that he won't sell them out. That doesn't mean to bombard him with his alone time with Aika. The human had to thoroughly agree that he will not tell a soul that he knows that Sona Citri and Rias Gremory are devils, nor their peerages as well. Especially how disastrous it was when Rias came in. Flashback begin. Issei who, Rias Gremory said, not caring that she interrupted Issei's moment with his friend, Aika Kiryu. Why is the Great One Sama speaking with him? What did he did to gain her attention? Maybe he blackmailed her? Rolling his eyes, Issei turned to her and said, Yes, Gremory-san? I do wish to apologize for last Friday's fiasco. I was hoping to have a word with you privately, Rias said, like it was the most normal thing to say. To bad everyone else, except Issei and Aika, who he informed her, took it the wrong way. Wahawa way it. Everyone shouted in shock beside him, Aika, and the devils. The mob of humans soon began to go in hysteria of the apology. Though unlike them, Issei wasn't in the mood at all for it. Shut you up. Issei shouted, surprising them all at how loud he yelled. Good, he said before looking at the redhead. Look, Gremory-san, I do understand that last week didn't go as you plan. But if one thing that life taught, it can be a fickle. Trust me, me and my friends are examples of those. Like how I see? Aika asked curiously. Matsuda, despite his looks, is actually our athlete of the group. If we took a break from Pawn long ago, he would be the star champion by now, Issei explained, surprising the humans as his friends flush. And Motohama, when he ain't scouting, is very good photographer. I say that with the skills of peeping, he can transform that to climb and explore areas around the world and take exotic pictures. Point is, life threw a fickle at us, and it's up to us to get out of it. Issei, you really do care for us like a bro, the two said as they bro-hug him. Just more and more surprises, Rias whispered as she nodded. Well, that is something new. I do hope this doesn't strain our friendship together. And she instantly regretted that once Motohama and Matsuda began beating Issei up. Thankfully Issei was prepared and defended himself wrong for the two kendo students, Murayama and Keitase, came in to help him. Still that made the secret devil to keep an eye on them now. Flashback over. Issei did found that amusing. Sure, he is still friends with the perverts, but in no way letting them go. Plus it did lessen him to be evil to the girls. Plus thanks to saving Aki, Keitase's little brother, he vouched for him when Aika invited them to go the arcades last night. It was very funny to see the pink-haired girl's face that it was Issei who saved her brother. Still, Issei was being dragged to the student council again, this time by Saji. Nothing wrong with this, but he might as well get this over with. I'm amazed you stirred up the student body, you, the blonde boy said to him. Maybe they shouldn't expect an underdog like myself to get a girl in general, the brunette replied. Hey, I've been meaning to ask you something. Is it? What did you do before being a pervert? We look into your files and discover some things. Things that you said and more. I need to look then. It's been a while since I seen my own school record. That I can tell. The two made it to the door. Saji knocked on it and heard Sona telling them to come in. He opened the door and Issei saw the entire council and the club. Well, the whole party is here, he thought. I was about to say the same thing. Kids now in? Let's hope this ends already. Getting real tired of being PP block, you know, Issei's conscience sneered, causing the real Issei to blush mentally as Kid sigh in annoyance. See, thanks for bringing him in, Sona praised him flatly, which did made the boy to be happy. She then pushed her glasses back as she looks at Issei critically. Issei, we have things to discuss. And I can figure it out, what might that be, the human said to her. But first, may I sit please, Kaicho? Yes, you may. Given the green light, Issei sat down in front of the desk to her. You do know what you are here for, right? Rias asked him. He nodded but said he wants them to correct the topic in hand. It is about our secret after all. Okay then, Issei said as he looked at them, with Kitty giving him his options. If it's about the fact that you are all devils, then no, I did not told a single soul about you guys. You certain? Sona asked him with her eyebrow raise. Absolutely, the human replied to her. And even if I slip it, who would believe me? My parents are still believers to Shinto itself, and Asia is kinda in the middle right now. Still, this may cause a problem for us in the future, Sona said as she looked at this with a stressful face. So what are you gonna do to me then? The brunette asked her. We just want to make sure you really keep your word that no one outside this room knows of our secret, Rias told him, giving off that stare when they met 2 weeks ago. This caused a moment as one option came to view. Do I need to sell my soul to you guys? Issei asked them. That instantly made those drinking tea that Akino served earlier to spit take out the contents. Even Kaneko, who was eating, was coughing her food at the accusation. Sona and Rias nearly face faulted onto the desk at that. Everyone was getting their composure together, with a few coughs here and there. Well, so much for that, said the conscious as he chuckled. I think I need to correct you on that, Sona said since that came out of the blues. Now she looked professional before explaining to him. You see, Issei, we now prefer to form contracts. At one point, we would have made a deal for your soul, but not anymore. I see, the human nodded, finding that a bit better. A bit, not a lot. So what would it be? The devil Kaicho asked. Issei became in deep thought about this. What do you guys think? He thought to his tenants. If what she says it's true, go for it, Kid Ise said. And if it's a trap? Sisei asked with distaste, not liking this at all. I doubt it. They don't want to cause problems here, Kid argued back. So yes then. Issei asked mentally to him. But we might as well get some things off our chest, Kid Ise said. What do you mean? Both Issei and his conscious asked at the same time. Asia's papers is still stopping her from being a citizen to Japan, Baka's, along with time. If they can help us with that, we may need to do something to get another favor from them, Kid pointed out for them. But that means we gotta do something in return for a favor, whined CSE. Plus we need to explain why Asia is here and not with the church anymore, the original said. The three agreed before he looked at them. I will accept, but will there be any catches? Issei asked since he doesn't want to go in blindly. They can range from anything you want, as long it's in our powers, Rias explained. There is more about how contracts work, but that is the basic for now. Thanks, since that would do, the brunette said to them. But there is something else I need to do? That made the redhead to smile as she raised her hand. Actually yes. In order to see you're worthy, I will recommend you join the occult research club. That made everyone to be silent. Sona was just resisting to facepalm. Is she still not letting up? Before she will snap at her, she was beaten. How about this? Issei began as he looked at them. I will go with along, but only if you help a few problems I'm dealing with. And those being? Tsubaki asked with her bow raise. One would be Asia Argento, my adopted baby sister. Unofficially, he said to them. Isn't she a nun? Kaneko asked in her monotone voice. That made Sona to instantly know got her answer to him. Well, I am sadly to say dash. Didn't hear the whole situation, Kaicho, Issei interrupted Sona, causing them to look at him for interrupting Sona. Yes, Asia was a nun. And yes, she was affiliated with the church and the fallen angels. But the key word here being was, Kiba said in surprised and wide eyes. Soon everyone followed suit once they connected the dots. Now Sona blushed in embarrassment, mentally cursing to not seeing such outcome. Smirking at their reactions, Issei's expressions soon turned to a soft, saddened face. Want to hear the story on why she's here? That made everyone to look with Rias saying him to go on as he explained why Asia was here. Originally, she was an orphan and dropped at the local church in Italy. From there she began to be part of the nuns and sisters of the church. Yet it later was revealed she had a sacred gear called Twilight Heel and became a world-renowned holy maiden. However, things aren't meant to last. A devil wind up in the church that killed a member, but Asia believed to be a normal man and healed him. Due to this, she was treated as a witch and was banished from the church for it. Then she was ordered to come here by the supposed church group, despite the building being abandoned for nearly a decade. I may not be into religion like my old friend Irene, very weird name for a boy by the way. But that doesn't mean it's okay to let her go like that. For dim's sakes, she was a holy maiden, not some exorcist, Issei said, with the devils feeling a quick numb of the holy name mentioned but feel pity for the former maiden. But that doesn't add up. Kiba said, trying to make sense. How can a devil appear near a church? That should have raised red flags to both sides right there alone. Kiba is right, Tsubaki said. How would a devil be able to get into angel territories without causing a ruckus is the questioning part in all of this. Could it have been a stray? Aquino asked them, but they shook their heads, but Issei got confused from that word. That wouldn't be the case, Aquino. If that was the case, the stray wouldn't allow Asia to heal himself, Sona rebutted to her. That statement they can all agreed since most strays would just kill everything coming in their view. We need to inform our leaders about this then, Sona muttered before looking at the human. I do see why you care for her. And from what we gathered and guess of the evidence, the fallen angels took her in but forgot about her when they retreated. That is true, Sona, Rias corrected her, to which Issei nodded. The fallen retreated from our territory and must have forgotten about her in the process. They did left in a hurry, from what I saw, Kaneko added. You two are right, Sona said to them. Also, Issei did said that they left a day before Asia came, so I do apologize for not getting the information out there. She then turned to Issei. I will see what I can do about this. I do have to congratulate on informing us this before we would have mistaken as a sign of invasion. Even though you Thames are invading on our turf, he growled mentally at them within Issei's mindscape. Both personalities of the human ignored it before moving on. Thank you, Kaicho, But I do have to ask now since we will be forming a contract about this, Issei said as he looked at the heiress with a critical look on his face. I am curious on what do you mean by the devils last week. Last time I check, there was only one, and he or she, depending the source material, also goes by Lucifer and Satan. Can you please clarify this to me? This made the devils to see he wants to know about their culture. While there are pros and cons with it, they might as well agree since he does have boosted gear. Plus it is after lunch and Issei remembers Aika isn't with him till his last class for the day, so they have time to spare. So they explain them to Issei of their lifestyle. Ranging from the evil pieces inspired by chess to the 72 noble families, what the remaining Sona did pointed out that some, not all, but some of the supposed extinct 39 are declared dead due to mixed breeding, which made him soured at that. Then came their family as Citrus and Gremmaris, which surprised him on their stance. Then came how their society work, from their duties, to peerages and handling strays. Apparently, strays are devils that are criminals and must be stopped at all cost. That interesting, and takes a spin on things we thought we know about them, Kid Issei said. Still, why stay in their 20s? Can't the devil women take the risk and let themselves age to their 30s or 40s? We seen Pawn, and I'll admit that some women looks more hot in their late 30s, Issei asked, which did raise a good point. Then again he is a part of Issei that prefer mature women. Okay, I'll ignore that and dash, Issei thought but stopped mainly since he sent a mental picture of his current crush on how will she look in the future. All while Kid Issei face-bombed and blushed. Pervert, Kaneko commented coldly as Issei had a perverted look on his face. Everyone wondered on what made him have the face, but guessed at the possibility of having a harem. Suddenly, Issei shook his head before looking down in embarrassment, if the blush on his face wasn't any indication. Sorry about that. My head was in the gutter there. He apologized with a bow. I see, Sona said, though skeptical. Very well then, we'll do our best to allow Asia in. Anything else do you need? Does that include her being a citizen and officially my adopted sister? Issei asked them. We can't allow family being broken, Sona, Ria said with smile. Don't worry, Issei, I'll do that for her. That made both Issei and Sona to smile. The human that it's gonna happen and the fellow heiress that there will be less work for her to do. Thanks. You're welcome. Hey, kid, Issei mentally looked at his conscious, who was thinking before grinning at him. If we join, also tell them if it's mandatory or emergency. You are human after all. We have better things to do. Good point there, he telepathic agreed to him before looking at Rias. Also, once I join your club will you? Time skip 1 week later. Time can funny at times. Since their help, Asia is not only an official citizen of Japan, but also his official adopted sister. Sure, he literally made a deal with the devil, or devils in this case. Yet it saved time due to Asia's lack of documents and the time of approval of the government. The whole school was surprised that Asia finally came and they were awe of her innocence. Despite turning over a new leaf, Issei is still under suspicious eyes by the kendo team, not that he blames them. Motohama and Matsuda were happy of Issei and Asia, though mostly the girl. With each other's help, they helped her to understand Japanese better while at the same time learn some Italian. As for another shocker would be Issei joining the occult club. As soon that was heard, the student council and ORC saw that Rias wasn't kidding when she said that if the Motohama and Matsuda can't get, they will vent out on Issei. Thankfully Issei had backup with the kendo duo, along with Saji and Kiba. Though Issei was happy when he told Rias to only come to him when it's mandatory, since he wants to be with his friends and Aika in his spare time. That's something they noted since he have been with her during his free time. Speaking of them, unknown to Issei, the devils were arguing to each other. A week did pass, but they forgot to talk to Issei about his past records. Despite him coming with them a few times of the day when it was required, they seemed to forgot to bring it up. But they now have bigger issues to deal with. Currently, Issei was in the new lounge set up by Sona. Apparently some kids want a lounge to relax during lunch break. As soon as TV was heard, Issei jumped onto that bandwagon before finally it happening. He soon brought his consoles, and it was also here he was called old school. Issei was surprised he had retro games from back then and the kids were having fun with how the games were. Now Issei wasn't stupid that it was 2013, but he couldn't catch up with the times in terms of gaming as a whole somehow. He had a lot to go with the flow on how much he missed once he knows what to do with his money. Issei was letting people play as he heard from students on the consoles he missed out by sheer blindness. The Nintendo GameCube, the Sony PlayStations, the Sega Dreamcast, even the Microsoft Xbox consoles got his attention. All these consoles and the hidden gems within their libraries, and here he was, with the third to somewhat complete fifth generation of consoles. While Issei was looking for more of his collections, he had found out he had a Nintendo 64 and Sega Saturn with a few games on them, but no PlayStation, though he forgot how he got, and his parents said his cousin knows, but it's hard to get in contact with him as of lately. Issei, help us! Matsuda shouted as Keitase gritted her teeth in the frustration. Shaking from his random train of thought, Issei looked at his friends, both new and old, with Asia. They were playing Gunstar Heroes on his Mega Drive. They appeared to be in the train level, not that he can blame them since the game is hard for a 16-bit. Let's see, Issei said as they paused the game, hoping for any tips. Tell me what's wrong, other than it being hard. Well, if you must know, we are shooting at the enemies, Keitase explained before pointing the finger at the screen. Then they're coming at us at lightning speed. So many that me and Baldy keep dying from them. Those can be explained easily, Keitase, the brunette told them. As you guys know, the Mega Drive was advertised in America to have a faster in terms how much frames they were, hence it being blast processing. So, the game got creative with it. How so? Matsuda asked. See the railings on the ceiling? Issei pointed out, causing them to see them of the paused screen. You can jump on them to avoid the enemies coming at you too. Just push up on the D-pad and jump to switch rails. Do the same again, but press down to be back on the ground. So, to avoid death, we just had to latch on to the top and bottom? Keitase asked. Yep. But see, the enemies are coming your way. I've been a sucker myself and got killed for simply cocky. Thanks for the advice. You're welcome. They all watched as both Keitase and Matsuda finally were able to progress onward. Yet Issei noticed that their weapons were off. Hey guys, what color you used? Issei asked. What do you mean, Hayadu? Keitase questioned back. Each of the colors are power-ups. Sometimes they either make the game hard or easy. That made everyone to wonder on what they chose. I went with the blue and yellow, while Keitase-John went with both reds. Why you ask? Matsuda answered before asking. Issei waited before he grinned, seeing Keitase in trouble by some mobs. Hey, Kissen, hold C and press B, and before you ask, just trust me on this. The pink-haired girl thought quickly and went with it. Much to their surprise, she performed a block move that saved her in the nick of time from getting killed. Wow, thanks, Haidu, she said as Matsuda did the same thing and was amazed. Thanks, Ayase. You're a lifesaver, the bald pervert thanked him. They too continued to progress as they saw the enemies now falling before them, as well seeing how insane the game got. Soon they were falling vertically, which made them now worry what comes from the bottom of the screen before reaching the ground floor. Soon they found the bad guys on the train head before it turned into a transformer. Yet they soon reached the boss, and it proved to be a challenge. Nothing wrong with it, as Issei did warned that there is a pattern they need to see an opening and be on guard, which proved to be really fun as they moved up and down in the game while fighting the train boss. Issei would have given them more advice before Saji came to ruin it. He told Issei that there is a mandatory meeting today. The human cursed at the announcement. He knew that he will run the risk of losing his console, something Sona said to anyone bringing any electronics, so he told Saji that he needs to keep an eye on his Mega Drive and take back to the council room. Sona's orders BDMN. Cursing his luck, the blonde student council member agreed to do it. The brunette also reminded him to take to the student council with a note that it belongs to him. He told Asia it's no big deal and he'll be back before school is over. Issei began his way while also wondering what's so important to have him go. Since he came, Rias and him did made a deal on how it's going to work. She will text him when it's important or not. So why didn't she text? You think something's up? Kid Issei asked him. Not saying you're wrong, Since it's fishy that she forgot to text me about it, Issei told him. Think it's a trap? 'Cause it sure feels like one, the conscious said to them. That made Issei to stop for a minute there, being out of the building now. Maybe you're right. It does seem to dash. Heightened there you are. Turning to the source of the voice, Issei looked to see Kiba coming to him. Yudo-san, Issei said with a bit force, hating to being interrupted. So what do I owe the pleasure of having my lunch interrupted? This made the Prince of Kuoh to bow. Apology, just that something urgent came up, and Rias didn't have the time do it taking up her time, he said before looking around. Where's Saji-kun? Told him to keep an eye on my game console I brought over and take it to the student council room, the brunette explained. I see, Kiba said, since he himself also appeared on the lounge and saw it. Come, we must get going. I'll inform of Tsubaki Fukutecho of Saji's task at the moment. The blonde took out his phone and began to text the student vice president on what happened. Once that was done, they arrived to the building. Yudo-san, Issei said. It's all right to call me Kiba too, Issei-kun, the blonde knight said to him with a smile. Right, I'll go either or, Issei said, albeit a bit awkward. Listen, is there something I need to be cautious while we're inside? I do not want to cause a scene like last time. Oh, how can they forget? As soon Issei saw Gasper, he was amazed of another girl to be here. Only to revealed to be a boy. The 10 long minutes of calming Issei was hard and awkward as he had a seizure. That's mostly because Gasper was okay going along with it for a good hour before Saji came and said that Bishop of Rias is actually a boy. Don't worry about it, Issei-kun, it's nothing that bad, Kiba assured him before looking at him serious. Just that something came up and has Bucho on the defense. I see, the human said with a nod. The two walk in to see the ground level is empty, meaning they're upstairs. Though Issei can tell from the stomping and yelling coming from the floor via vibration. The two slowly went upstairs before stopping at the door. It must be a serious talk as the night went in for the two of them. Issei, if he was honest, was scared since this is new for him. Sure, he at least got the gist of it through a practice rating game from Sona and Rias. But this is something entirely since there might be someone inside that's not Sona. He can tell it's a male since the yelling is more louder than Rias's. What do I do? He asked to himself. Not go in? Can save us the time? Issei suggested. This made the original to think before another thought came to mind. Hey, did you guys even checked on that dragon? That got both of them to ponder before the kid finally came. Actually, we did saw him, the child side said. Really? How is he? And how do you know it's a he? Issei asked. Simple, Sona said it herself. You were busy with Aika as soon she suggested to get ice cream once you left the club on Monday, the kid said, causing both the conscious and the original to blush. I see then, my bad, Issei apologized to himself. It's all right, but it also seems he's. The kid tried to find the right words. But somebody is impatient about things. The dragon is sleeping and doesn't give a DMN, the conscious said, making it easier. Really? Issei said with an eyebrow raise. Yep, nothing seems to wake the overgrown lizard up. Even name-calling didn't work. That's truly surprising. I suggested of making loud noises, but the brat said no. Well, it's the truth. Kid Issei growled. The last thing we want is Issei getting a serious headache with what's going on. Issei soon got a new thought that came out of nowhere from that. Hey, that reminds me. Do you think that my emotions can appear alongside you guys? He asked, which made the conscious to snort while the child thought. Don't be freaking ridiculous, kid. Meanwhile, in America, an employee in Pixar got more ideas for their next movie, which won't come out till 2015 called Inside Out. Suddenly they heard rumbling from next door, which startled the human. He is seriously getting worried about what's going on in there. He knew he will get into trouble for this, but hey, life is boring without taking risk. You sure it's a good idea? Kitty asked worriedly. Well, if you're going in, go in style. He suggested with a grin. Here it goes. Issei thought as he barged on. The people inside the clubhouse, which consisted of Rias and her peerage. Her arrogant fiancé that her parents set her up, Riser and his peerage. Sona and Tsubaki were there, before the phoenix ever came. Finally, Grafia was there. There was lots of rant and argument thrown around between both fiancés. It wasn't that bad as it did kept in a verbal level. Yet Riser was still a smug prick he is, as well show off that he has a complete peerage compared to Rias. Grafia interfered since there was no way this is going off. She just hoped her husband knows what he's gambling with a rating game. Sure, there are cases that some peerage with little members come out on top, but that's only if their members are strong. Sadly, Rias isn't at that level, not even close. Riser, on the other hand, does have experience and have a complete set, which has many advantages. He accepted the game and let Mira, his pawn, to show off a bit. Only that never came. The door busted open, surprising all inside. Rias and Sona gasped in shock as they saw Issei coming in. Kiba cursed himself for not checking on him while everyone else had wide eyes at the unannounced visitor. Thought this was going to be easy, just show off and be done. Now a wild boy, with a fierce determination on his face, appeared. She tried to raise her staff but was too slow. Issei grabbed onto the wooden stick, causing her to panic. Riser's peerage was stunned as they saw the two of them holding very tightly onto the staff. It soon got ridiculous as the two were spinning around like amateur dancers. They were gonna ask if they should help before both let go. Issei and Mira got dizzy before going to their respective side. While the blonde's peerage grabbed her, Kiba and Gasper couldn't and fell to the ground. No one said a thing since that was something random entirely. Well, Riser said, now finding his voice. That was something. Riser Phoenix is many things. He is a high-ranking devil. He is a pure-blooded devil. He is part of the Phoenix clan, with the powers of immortality in the palm of his hands, along with the fire that burns like an actual phoenix. He was hoping to convince Rias that it's time to accept her destiny and marry him, her fiancé. Sure, he may be an arrogant prick, but who can blame him? It's in their blood that all devils show off their pride and accomplishments, as well getting what they want through their greed. If only he knew that phase would taint in the future. So he was now confused on how this unknown boy managed to get both himself and Mira out from that act. He did gain the Blue Shrine Maiden a few years back, as well hoping to increase her stats for his peerage. Contrary to popular beliefs, Riser wasn't going to point fingers just yet. He noticed the boy came in head first and saw him not putting up a fight with his pawn. It was rather humorous actually to see the two spin around like they were children while holding the staff for dear life. Before his peerage would attack, he raised his hand. Quite an interesting introduction there, Rias sweetie, Riser said, though he did notice her to panic. I was going to ask Kiba if he brought him, but I got too caught up with our argument that he barged in like that. Rias replied in hysteria, though that made him smirk, knowing that this wasn't her fault. As for the three boys, Issei, why didn't you wait outside? Kiba growled at him, losing his cool for once as he tried to get up. Don't blame me. I was waiting there for like 10 minutes with no response. Issei scowled back as he tried to get up, though he accidentally placed his left hand onto someone else. Gasper shrieked. Some of Riser's peerage blushed while the rest laughed. Simple. Issei unintentionally placed his hand on Gasper's exposed thigh, since the trap is still the girl's uniform. The brunette flinched from his action to the blonde boy as even Akino joined in the teasing. I can see why you came in, the second beautiful one said. You came for Gasper-kun. Issei blushed at the accusation while the rest of Riser's peerage laughed or giggled at that. The Damfer blushed as well, since this is very embarrassing. Oh heck no. Issei growled at her, still flushing. It was an accident and you know it. Lady Rias, Grafia spoke, now finding her words, her monotone voice. Please refrain your servant from causing more destructive actions. Rias thought about it and may go with that way. Surely Grafia gave her an idea. Hold up, the human said as he got up from what he heard. Yet that didn't set well with the human. He turned to look at the maid, to which he noticed she wore a French maid outfit. While he got a good look at her, that's beside the point since he wanted to set her straight. What makes you think I'm even a devil, lady? Welp, so much for the plan. Everyone had wide eyes, with both heiresses gulping in fear along with their peerage members. Rias shot a quick glare at her sister-in-law for saying it out loud. Grafia saw it and didn't know what to feel, but decided to put it to the side for now. Riser's peerage was stunned. Sure, this is an embarrassment, but at the same it was just Mira, who was his recent addition. So Riser's peerage instead began to tease Mira for losing to a human. Something Riser found very amusing. So a human manages to tie with Mira? Riser said haughtily. I do say you must have trained him before trying recruiting him, dear. Issei rolled his eyes at the statement. You have no idea, Blondie, the human thought. It was hard that Rias needed to be reminded he was still human. Something Sona did took joy seeing her go through training with, albeit slowly, while also apologizing for almost killing him from the training alone. Still, why meddle in our business when you have nothing to gain from? The noble devil asked him. That made the human to think quickly and get his answer for the guy. I know I'm still human, but I can't be worried about the one I made a contract with? Issei asked since it was true. Who also happens to be my fiancé? The devil said with a smirk. Heh. Issei's stupefied face told him everything, along with some of his peerage to take quick pictures of his reaction. He quickly snapped his neck to both, still shock, back and forth on what he heard. Why didn't you told me about this? Rias blushed, at least thankful he didn't mention the SECSLV thing. I was caught up with all these things, that I forgot about it, she explained herself. Sona giggled a bit in secret, enjoying this. Issei said as he was speechless. This only made Riser to smirk wider before he patted on him on the back, causing him to almost fall to the ground. He did, though barely caught himself in time. That's good for a human, Riser said to him. Issei just growled but kept to himself. He soon got up as he looked at him. Okay, sorry, but so I got curious. Can you blame me there? Issei apologized. Plus, I do doubt you can do anything for my dear, especially in your stance, Riser shot back. Though surprisingly enough, Issei shrugged. Even with the training given, I doubt I can help Rias dash, Issei said before stopping before looking at him, now recalling something thanks to his conscience. Wait a minute. Fiancé? He asked as he looked at him and the popular girl. Marriage? The noble devil nodded, causing Issei to roll his eyes. Well, I should have connected the dots. Yes, we are to be wed soon, Riser said arrogantly, like it was the most obvious thing on his mind. There was silence as Issei had wide eyes upon hearing this. For the last time, Riser, I will not marry you. Rias growled, causing him to snap from his surprised state. Issei flinched back and got behind the... She sighed as she did remind them of a rating game wager. Turns out Rias's brother had this planned just in case. If Rias wins, the engagement is over. If Riser wins, the marriage happens. Issei may be human, but with the knowledge he knows so far, the redhead is screwed. Her fiancé got her beat 3-2. The only way she could win is by outsmarting her fiancé's team. Now Issei would have ignored this, if it wasn't the case of what Riser said about his peerage. Oh, but my lovely Rias, my peerage is complete. As well acting a double as my harem, Riser stated, causing the heiress to growl in disgust, while his peerage blushed. What the F did he just said? Issei and his conscience shouted mentally as the kid was stunned. Issei looked on as he saw the girls and almost face-bombed. How I didn't notice that? If so, then this guy is freaking good to get a harem. Well, that's something I didn't see, Kitty said, surprised at the revelation, looking at the girls before stopping to the blonde girl. Though I do have noticed something about that young girl in the pink dress. Think they're related? Issei's conscience said privately to the kid counterpart as Issei phased out a bit, who was surprised about the lovely women in his harem. Yet he was trying to resist this. Only Aika is for him. He must endure. If so, I won't be surprised if NCST is allowed. Nah, they're devils. I won't be surprised if they allow it. After all, they are allowed to indulge into things that are taboo to us humans. So I won't judge them on that. That's a first from you, Kitty said with wide eyes. Yes, and you better shut up about it, Gaki, growled the conscience. Issei ignored his tenants as he was soon focused on the conversation between the two fiancés. Rias and Riser's parents must be desperate for grandchildren to want the two to wed right now. Though Issei can relate to that as Japan itself is suffering a baby bust in terms of growth. His parents got lucky to have him, yet many Japanese aren't willing to take the risk to raise a family. Call him a sucker, but Issei himself does believe in true love too. Sure, it's far-fetched, even in this day and age, but being with someone that will treat both sides of the couple nicely is a privilege for them. Issei can tell Rias doesn't like Riser, yet he can tell the noble blonde may be putting on a mask of bullying to please her. Yeah, didn't anyone tell this dude that women are weird, his conscience told him. True, both Issei and his kid self said as they listened in. Though Riser taunted her since he will win either as the marriage is set. And Rias needs to admit that this is the end of being single. Though that didn't stop the redhead to put one final act of defiance against her fiancé, saying she will win. At least she has hope. Though before the blonde was about to leave, the human decided to enter the fray again. How about a wager, then? Issei suggested to Riser, who was curious himself as he stopped the magic circle. And what would that be, human? He asked. Surely you jest? Can you defeat a devil? I will simply win without even trying. And according to the rules that abide by our society of the rating game, I win by default. First off, my name is Issei, the brunette human said. The devil's peerage was ready, but Riser raised his hand to stop them. Second, how about a different wager since I can't fight you in a traditional one-on-one? He ended with a smirk. Something made them all, especially Rias and Riser the most, to be curious about what he has to offer. I see, the Phoenix said before smiling smugly at him. What way do you want to fight then? Simple, Issei retorted back with a smirk of his own. You play games? Chess and the likes. No. I'm talking about video games, buddy. No one said a word upon Issei saying that sentence. Is he serious? Does Issei even know what he's saying? What the hell is he thinking? That, Shualan found her voice, is the most stupidest dash. Care to repeat that for me, Shualan? Riser snapped out of the sudden stupor, carrying a sense of disappointment at his rook. That surprised and shocked everyone, as they didn't expect that kind of reaction and reply from Riser at all. And nothing at all, Lord Riser. The Chinese reincarnated devil apologized quickly. Why would Riser react in such a way, to his own servant no less? So, let me get this straight, hang on, Riser said as a puff of fire cleared out of his ears. Okay, just to make sure nothing is stuff in my ears. Taking a deep breath, the devil heir looked at the boy. You wish to challenge me, not in a rating game, but rather a wager of esports of some kind? Silence came again, this time in surprise. Since when did Riser know about such a thing? Everyone looked at him in surprise, except Issei, who looked at him with a smirk. Yes, but not just any video game wager, the human said to the devil. It's gonna be a retro endurance test. That made them look at him in surprise, especially Riser. We're gonna play the hardest games the Super Famicom, the original Famicom, and the Sega Mega Drive have to offer. First one to rage quit, and I mean to literally rage quit in terms of breaking the controller to smashing the game and TV kind of rage. First to 3 rage quits loses. Issei then points to himself. I win, the engagement is nullified. He then pointed to him. You win, my memory is wiped clean, and you get Rias. Everyone was stunned at the proclamation. No one had anything to say. Is Issei seriously betting to win against Riser in video games? They may not know what retro is, most of them since they don't care for whatever reason. Except for Gasper and Kaneko, mostly for the trap's hobby and the Nico's clients, but they do know that this is still serious business. Rias gulped, knowing that if she and then Issei fails, then her love life will be going straight on how her parents want it. Smirking, Riser looked him in the eye. The two boys seeing the other's fire in their eyes. I see then, the Phoenix said as he motioned his hand. I accept your challenge. Everyone gasps in shock. Did he seriously agree with it? Even Graphia was taken back by the unorthodox challenge being issued. But, Riser said, getting everyone's attention. I will demand a list of games you have. We must make it seem fair. I have only a limited experience with Mega Man 9 and 10, as well Contra and Super C, so I will need to see through your collection to determine which games will be allowed. Funny, I was about to say that too, Issei said as he crossed his arms over his chest. As a gamer, I do want to honor this challenge by making sure we agree on which games would be in our match. Curiously speaking, have you ever had the chance to play any of the modern gaming consoles? The Xbox 360? PlayStation 3, or a gaming computer? Nope. I still have my Famicom, Super Famicom, and Mega Drive. Plus the only games I played on the computer were either Flash games or eroges. Teeth, pitiful that you aren't caught up. I would have enjoyed destroying you in the modern consoles like Kuoh. However, I do have pride in being a gamer myself. So I will comply by playing these retro titles. I get that a lot from the game room. My classmates nicknamed me Dinosaur since I still have those systems and haven't bothered getting the new ones. I am willing to ask if there will be any fighting games? I doubt there will be any since the games were unbalanced even by their standards back then. Especially on the Mega Drive. What about games that allow two players like Final Fight? Riser asked, surprising Issei. Smirking, he replied back. Yes, I played the game on my PS3. It was part of the Double Impact. So I have some experience. Well, that's good then. Issei answered with a smirk as well. Also, no RPGs in any way. They take too long. We're just sticking with action, shooters, beat-em-ups, and adventures. Better bring your A game on. And so to you. The two stood there, looking at each other as they began to shake hands, agreeing to this unorthodox approach. Revel, he said, gaining the attention of the pink-dressed member. Give this human our magic seal, so it is easier to arrive and see his collection. Right, brother? Revel said as she walked towards and gave a piece of paper with their family symbol on it to Issei. Use this wisely, human, and don't lose it. She warned. Crystal, he promised to her as she returned back to her brother's side. Once we organize this challenge, the better time I have to hone my skill, Riser said as he looked at Issei one more time. Please make this enjoyable for me, human. I also want to savor this interesting event for my eternal life. You got it, Riser, Issei said to him. This will be an honor to have. I will make sure this will be very memorable for all of us. Girls, we are leaving, Riser said as he told his peerage as got together. Perhaps later in the evening or tomorrow Revel will come over. Until we see each other again. Soon they departed back to the underworld. I will inform your brother of this unexpected turn of events, Lady Rias, Graphia told her as she looked at the human. You are indeed a strange one, Sikuyudii. I do hope you know what you are doing. She bowed before leaving as well. Issei nodded as he sheepishly smiled as he saw someone walking towards him. Hey, Sona, he asked once he made his way to the kaicho. I would be disappointed in your actions, son, Sona said to him with an arms cross. But I will admit that your challenge to Riser is extremely unorthodox. I'll say, Suji said in surprise. I mean, I heard bad things about the guy, but I never imagined him to be a video gamer. You said the same thing to me and looked at how that turned out, the brunette retorted with a smirk. This made the dirty blonde growled at that as the redhead sighs. Well, the only thing we can do is train and hope for the best we win, Rias said as she thought of any training. I just don't want to drag you into this, Issei. It's fine, Bucho, Issei said as he snapped his fingers. Actually, Rias, I may have a way to help there. This caught everyone off by surprise in the room. How so, Hayadu-san? Akino asked, curious about his game plan. You guys told me that the rating games are based off of chess, right? They all nodded at that. Then I see we just need some training on this. Issei began to think of anything to help them. Obviously, we're killing time, and I do have an idea for this. What would that be, Hayadu-san? Sona asked as she was curious. Sona, how many do you have in your peerage right now? 7. Why? And a complete set is 15, right? Yes. Then we just killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Both heiresses looked at each with wide eyes, along with their peerages. I see what you mean, Hayadu-san, Tsubaki said in surprise, now connecting the dots. By training each other in a mock rating game as well as improving our skills, we might stand a better chance fighting Riser. Rias ended with a big smile on her face. Everyone also liked the idea. If Rias remembers seeing some of his fights, Riser did train his peerage who didn't have anything special on them. With the sole exception being his queen and sister of a bishop, the rest are average. While Rias has 4 members, they may have a good chance. Yudo Kiba is a survivor of the Holy Sword Project, along with having the sword birth sacred gear. Akino Himejima is, now, a fallen angel devil hybrid, having holy lightning, along being daughter of the deceased Shuri Himejima and her estranged father of a fallen angel Baraquil. Kaneko Tuju, formerly Chiron, is part Nekasha and may give them the edge. And finally Gasper Vladi, who is now awake, and their resident damper, who also has a powerful sacred gear, the Forbidden Baylor View. So maybe they do have a chance to win. I do think this is a great idea, Issei-san. Rias praised him. Yes, we will be able to gain more ground to cover, Sona said with a small smile. Issei smiled back. You're welcome, guys. It's the least I can do. Issei then became serious. Now can we please hurry? I do have one more thing that may help you guys, as well, talking to Riser's sister about the games we're gonna play. Wait, what about school? Tsubaki asked. We're still in lunch and soon 5th PRD will start. This made everyone to face-bombed as they were about to ditch school. Along with the brunette's eyes widen in horror. Due to one thing. My Mega Drive. Issei said as he rushed out of the clubhouse. Good analysis, Tsubaki, Sona said to her as they were about to ditch school. We'll do it after school. After that small debacle, it turns out everyone took turns since Gunstar Heroes kicked butt and theirs. Though no one took, which made the pervert happy that it wasn't stolen. He then put it in his second backpack before going on with his day. School went through normal as everyone went along with their day, with the gossiping here and there. Once school was over, Aika said she had family business and had to go. Issei was sad but understood as they kiss. And went their separate ways. Once he met the 4 popular girls in Kuoh Academy, it was time to go. Though he saw their peerages were there. Hey guys, I'm here, Issei told them as he looked at them. Told them what happened? Yep, Rias said. Though we do not want to crowd your home, so only Sona, Akino, Tsubaki and I are going. Sure, it's fine, Issei said with sigh. Mom will still have a heart attack, I won't lie about that. Still ready? Very well then, Sona said as she looked at the peerages. You all stay put while we go and retrieve the consoles and games. Everyone nodded as the 5 began to move out. With that, they soon left, with Akino, Tsubaki, Sona and Rias went to Issei's house. Upon arriving home, and after calming down his parents, Issei went upstairs and grabbed what he needed to give Rias an edge on her rating game tactics. While the 4 talked while his parents went to the kitchen to make food, he soon came down with his Super Famicom and some games in hand. Issei, how will this help us? Rias asked, confused. Simple, he said with a smile before raising the only 3 games he has on him. These are tactical RPGs for the Super Famicom. Bahamut Lagoon, Fire Emblem Mystery and Front Mission. I see, Sona deduced immediately. Since these games are TRPGs, they may help give Rias plans on how to approach her rating game against Riser. Plus I heard of Fire Emblem through Super Smash Bros., Rias exclaimed with a smile. These may as well be my intro to TRPGs. Issei smiled before being hugged, feeling the red devil's melons pressing on his chest. Thank you, Kohai. Why, you're welcome, Rias, he said with a forced smile. But can you please let me go? Sadly for him, Akino also joined in the fun. Very thoughtful of our Kohai indeed, the Raven Beauty said. I'm starting to hate these she-devils, growled his conscience. You and me both, Issei agreed. While I do appreciate the praise, I do have a meeting to attend. The 2 pouted but ultimately let go. Rias, please do me a favor and keep both the games and system in check. The last thing I want is those being destroyed. Smiling at the possibility of winning against her finance, Rias winked at him. Don't worry, Issei, I'll make sure it's okay. With business done, the 4 devils left the house, politely declining food since it was time to get to work. Within minutes, the food was ready as Issei, Asia and his parents went to the table and eat. So was there something that allowed Rias to borrow your Super Famicom? It was from my sister, Issei, Hiroshi said to his son. Let's say while she has a good understanding of tactics, she needs some practice, Issei said to his dad. I do wonder if it's a good idea, dear, Hitomi added to her husband's question. Don't worry, Mom, besides, how bad was it for me? Issei asked them back. Though he didn't see his parents' deflated, tired expressions. Except for Asia, who was worried about them. You a light moda fapa? Asia asked, still in poor Japanese but with better improvements. This made the parents return from the memory lane they remembered long ago. Just something about Issei's childhood, Asia-chan. Issei's mom reassured her with a smile. Meanwhile, the four girls cursed silently for forgetting about a certain subject again. Okay, next time we meet him, we are talking about his files. Sona said as the other three agreed.